Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Thursday night here at Disconnected. Tonight, we've got somebody that I've gotten much closer to over the last year, Mr. Aaron West from Criterion now, and also the hottest thing on the block lately, Cinejourneys. Welcome, Aaron.
Yeah, things are going well. It's good to see you, Ryan. Yeah, it's been a blast. And hello, chat. Nice to see Josie, Ronnie, Terry. So yeah, great to be back. We have a lot to talk about.
A
Imagine that.
lot. Yeah, as
Uh,
usual, when I think it's going to be an easy week and we pick a topic that we're going to talk
yeah,
about a lot, they're like, oh, let's just announce everything under the sun.
big topic. So I'm drinking coffee at 9:30, so I am primed to go as late as it takes, long as it takes. I've blocked off my my schedule tomorrow. Oh, hey, A24 Score. That's a friend on the Discord. Um,
Nice, nice. What's going on? Yeah, it's gonna be a fun night. We got Aaron here, and we're gonna be talking about something after the announcements tonight that is near and dear to both of our hearts. The one and only Mr. Sean Baker. We're gonna be ranking his filmography so far, discussing what's appealing about it, talking about its connections to Aaron's book, and some more. Josephine, as usual, throwing out some new watches since last time. Clooney Brown from 46, The Thin Man from 34, Dogma from 99, Loveless from 81, and 20th Century. Aaron, any of those you want to shout out?
I think all of them actually. Loveless I haven't seen, but yeah, 20th Century, and Clooney Brown, great classic screwball
Yeah.
comedy, and Thin Man. I can see Josie, you've been on a theme here. Dogma, I guess could it be like a retro screwball?
Yeah.
I'm really excited that there's a new release coming out. I guess so I hope it's going to tour. I'd like to go see it. I think it is.
Oh, it
Um,
just played. They played a full theatrical this last weekend. It
oh,
was all through
I
all
might have missed it.
AMC's. I'm not sure how long they're going to go because supposedly it was very successful, like way more successful than they
That's
anticipated.
great. I love Kevin Smith, and I know you do too. So
Yeah.
of
Oh
course
yeah.
he's in the book too. Um,
Um, since Aaron had not seen it, I'll shout out there for anybody that's never seen it. Loveless is a great watch. Early Catherine Bigelow, really great Willem Dafoe performance. Fun, fairly simple biker movie. Yeah, everybody needs to watch it. Aaron put out, or not Aaron, Arrow, close name, put out a really great release of it.
oh, thanks.
Tom's here.
Yeah,
Disconnected Pride shirts arrived. Nice. I hope you get it. That's great.
happy Pride
Yeah,
and
that
Juneteenth. Pride
and
and
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth. I mean, obviously it's June and 19th. So, um, I mean, if I could just my soapbox, if you could support a black-owned business, if you didn't today, I think over the weekend is fine. I didn't get out much today. I mean, Chipotle is not well, I don't know.
You
Oh,
don't know. The local franchisee might be.
yeah, maybe you never know. Um, yeah, a lot of friends in the chat. Oh, that's very kind. Thank you. Yeah, and yes, I am the guest of honor, like Adam Goyan's. His not so popular film.
Anthony wants to see your cat, so if we get an appearance tonight, he'll be happy.
So I was out of town last weekend, and when you get a cat during COVID, they're gonna be, hey Craig, they're gonna be a little clingy, and so Levon is clingy to me, so he might show up. But the thing is, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come back in town, and he's gonna be all nice, and he's a massive cat, so it's kind of cool when he's nice. He has been an asshole all week, like fuck that guy, like. The second I walked in, he got in my suitcase. Was like, I'm misbehaving. He has a look. So anyway, so yeah, Anthony, you might get Levon, but if you do, I'm like, it might be like 10 seconds to save my limbs. But yeah, and I know Craig's a big cat lover as well. So yeah, hopefully,
Everybody here, yeah, love it.
yeah.
We got a lot to talk about. So for you, for those that weren't here last time we talked about Cinejourneys, why don't you talk about what's going on and the kind of giant piece of press you got this week?
Yeah, well, so yeah, we built a platform called Cinejourneys, and I think probably the last time I was on, it's been a minute, but it was probably early. And actually, you got one of the first interviews with us really early.
Yep.
So and really, I think we just couldn't shut up talking about it. We've said a lot of times we built what we want to exist, or we were building what we want to exist. So it's about a year ago that we launched the website, and then around October, November, we started having online classes. And yeah, we've just grown in membership. We just finished one by Imogen and Sarah Smith, which will probably come up because it was about Palin Pressburger. And there are like yeah, stay tuned. And we have one on Intro to Film Theory now. We just launched Adrian Martin. Probably a lot of disc collectors know him from like lots of work, but a lot of
Yeah.
commentaries. He's doing one on Fritz Lang. So, and we have some others that we can't talk about yet. Yeah, the press. So we were just like a sentence. So it was just nice. But it was a really good article that maybe you could share later. But it was a long read too. And so we were just glad to be part of this discussion. And basically, it's like, hey, the world is kind of shitty at the moment. Maybe not. Well, I don't know. I was going to say not for everybody. I don't know if anybody's really happy. It's equal. Maybe Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. But anyway,
I will say Tucker Carlson has had a great week, and that hasn't happened in a long time.
I actually quote Tucker Carlson in the Sean Baker chapter, but yeah, I might have to edit that now. I don't know. But
what a weird.
But the article was that people are turning to outlets, and so one of the outlets has been online learning, and that's something not that I would trade it all for like things to be nicer, people to be nicer to each other, respect, that sort of thing. But I'm glad also to provide an outlet. So for example, just using Imogen, she had such a great time doing this for 5 weeks, and really we're just seeing to ourselves and to our subscribers, it's just adding value to their lives. So that's a good one, Ronnie. Yeah, no, I don't know. Let's see. Have him do a commentary. But yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was a big publication, New York Mag, The Cut, if you know it. So we did get a lot of. I mean, we didn't get like a big boost of subscribers, but people. I should say the people that matter. Not that anybody doesn't matter, but people were adding matter.
Now you can say anywhere that you were featured in The Cut, and that's a big deal for a lot of small organizations.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal for us to get noticed. It's yeah, that's all I have to say.
And I mean, it's kind of a perfect time because I know that so many people, especially right now, look at that, are going through a rough period. And one thing that I think has come up repeatedly over the last couple months is the importance of what we used to basically call third spaces. People would have work and home and then some random third place where they would go meet people. And so many of us are turning to online communities. And kind of the perfect night to discuss this because Cinejourneys and everything surrounding the disconnected has kind of become that for a lot of people. I mean, you can find these online learning opportunities that you have offered, and not only be able to expand your film knowledge, but make like genuine friends that you can turn to and get to know and have discussions that you can learn people's taste and grow with them. The other big thing is, my Patreon and the Discord that we have, and then the safe space that people know that this is to be able to turn to when times are tough and just have a discussion. So by all means, links for everything for both of these in the description below. Check them out. If you're into it, we'd love to have you at either one.
I completely agree. And by the way, too, people, community of the disconnected. Sorry, I've been gone. I've been writing a book. It takes a lot of time, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit. I agree. Well, I haven't been on. Or I used to show up appointment, and I would try to get the best comment of the night, and I think sometimes I actually did. So, not tonight, obviously, but maybe the best. You never know. I mean, I can still join the chat. It's the button's right there. But no, this is great. As you know, I'm a patron of the high. I think it's the highest tier. So support what you're doing. Yeah. I get the issues and stuff, so I don't know. Unless there's like a magical, tickle your butt tier. I don't know.
That's the extra special tier that's not listed, but you got a DM for the price on that one.
Yes. So hit me up.
Lots to discuss tonight, but the first thing, with it being Juneteenth, want to shout out, Aaron said support a Black-owned business. On top of that, expand your film palette if you have not this month. It is a really important time to make sure that films that are important in the idea of the LGBTQ plus community and representation, or Black filmmakers, or telling stories that are nowhere near yourselves, try it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I'm watching I don't know how, but I've missed a Spike Lee film for years, and I'm watching it for something that I'm doing here in a couple weeks. I think I'm watching that one tomorrow, probably. It's Gonna be a great month. Everybody should watch that, or The Watermelon Woman, or countless
Oh, that's a
other.
great one. Yeah.
We just watched that recently in the Discord for one of our monthly watch alongs, and man, I've been recommending that left and right.
I was kind of sort of there. Like I've seen that, and I Discord on my phone, so I respect David Lynch's advice. I do not do not watch movies on my phone. But the thing is, I've watched The Watermelon Woman, and even kind of like passively, it's still enjoyable. So that was fun. And if you're not on the watch alongs, those are a lot of fun. But again, I tend to, when I do show up, it's at the end. So yeah. Great film. Yeah, I talk about representation a lot during the book. Of course, A24 is huge for representation, not just Black, people of color, gender, I guess sexuality, Pride Month, and I have hopefully people will like the perspective I took, but I think that they're just really interested in telling stories of people that aren't like Jeff Bezos, basically. So. Watch the Jeff Bezos story come to A24, directed by Sean Baker.
I don't think so, probably,
He's a sex
but
worker.
that's true. He's fucked a lot of people. Let's get into some of our usual segments. What have you been picking up recently? Because I know even though you've been busy, you've still been buying some stuff.
They're kind of topical, actually. So I have this one. So this is A Different Man. Speaking of A24, have not unwrapped it. So I did include this in my representation chapter, and the way I approached it is I just have, of course, most of the, Barry Jenkins, Greta Gerwig, there's all sorts of. I saw the TV Glow. But I talk about representation and then basically don't talk about it again because I think they've just integrated that into their the fabric of their being.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk about a film that covers disability well, and so this one so the chapter was waiting for this disc because I'm going to mention this because Adam Pearson is an amazing human being, and I hate to say brave because I don't think that word should be used for somebody to just show their face. I think that's not his problem. But I think it's still, he does show his face to show awareness, and he inspires me. He inspires a lot of people. So, and the thing is, despite his health condition, he is a very charismatic, enjoyable person. Have you seen this?
I have, and I love it. This movie's great.
Good. It's kind of like the male substance is what I've heard. I think that's a good.
In a way, yeah. Maybe slightly more comedy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, and of course, Under the Skin, he was Adam Pearson played a very memorable role that I'm sure everybody's seen it, but I won't spoil.
Yeah. It's a great one. Anything else?
Oh yeah. So actually, this one's kind of topical. This is Dogma number 2.
Here is the one that I was going to share tonight.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was putting up with yours. It's another Lars von Trier that came out in that same batch.
I saw One Car Why. I don't know why. I just saw the 3 words.
Dancer in the Dark. Yeah.
So
I'll share that with you. Yeah.
The Idiots is actually, I don't know if it's his favorite movie, but it's one of his favorite, Sean Baker's favorite movies. So as I was researching and writing about the chapter, basically, including, we should mention that we're both friends with Sean, like we're not going to go on vacations with him, but we both know him and have talked to him a few times, more than a few times. But every time I think I've talked to him, like he works this into the conversation, even if it has nothing to do with anything. Yeah. And this is an interesting one because speaking of disabled people, so it uses a word, the R word, which is actually a translation. So I kind of wonder how appropriate that translation is, but it's been erased. And I don't think it's used in a context that's offensive to me personally, but I would understand if some people are offended. I think it's a great Dogma film, super indie. Yeah. Not for everybody. Come on. Dancer in the Dark is not for everybody either.
Lars von Trier in general is not for everybody. Let's be honest.
Don't take your kids to ever.
Now I kind of want to see a Lars von Trier family film.
Yeah. Hey, my son. Let's go to Nymphomaniac Part 2.
We're going to talk about Mia Goth maybe tonight, so that's timely.
We could, yeah. That's her breakthrough.
Brendan wants to know if you could actually go on vacation with Sean, where would you go?
Strip club.
Everybody will already know him. My answer, I want to go to Italy with him and see him just gush over all the filming locations and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, that would be great. Or France for the same
Yep.
reason, or England. I mean, he's a huge fan of a lot of English films. So yeah, yeah. Great
That was
question.
a good answer. All right, sir. What else you
Five
got?
answers. Oh, I just one more. The thing is, I buy so much that they're all in stacks, and when you're writing a book, you don't have time to watch shit. So I've been prioritizing. So this is from Arrow. I think it was kind of recent. I think it was last week. So this is Alex Proyas' Dark City. And I found I don't buy a lot of Arrow anymore. I missed out on the Josie, not Josie Well, the Man with No Name trilogy. I completely went to his revisionist Western. The thing is, those have had so many releases, and there's FOMO. They're great movies, but I just missed that. But they're still putting out pretty good things, and got Dark City.
You know, it's crazy. That is actually not released till next week. That's going to be the first title that we're talking about, is what's coming next week.
I can't wait.
But Arrow always they send things so early, and so like most people have already got it, watched it, loved it, rated it on Letterboxd. Crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, cheers. Frankly, I mean, why wait for some artificial, arbitrary date? If it's done, it's done. Like, I Talk to Me and The Nice Guys are actually at the airport, like right now in New York. So, but Second Sight, they weren't ready. Oh, did you have them?
Let's go to my pickups then.
Oh, you mother.
Here is The Nice Guys with this gorgeous new art from Second Sight. Nice thick limited edition. Incredible. Love this movie. Shane Black, his masterpiece, in my opinion. I don't think he's done anything that's even remotely close to as good as that.
Can't wait. Did you get Talk to Me as well, or?
I did not get that one yet. I think that is in my next shipment from Brother Belial. And honestly, another shout out, Brother Belial. The way they do it is if you have like pre-orders coming in the future, but you have multiple orders open, if there's stuff ready from other orders, they'll box them together.
Oh, that's
so that
great.
You're not paying more shipping, but you're not waiting exactly as long as you could have been waiting. So it's pretty neat, actually.
No shade to Orbit, but Orbit, if you're watching, please do that. Figure out a way, because I sometimes if I don't time it up right, I go for the three free. My copy of my Chronos and one of the Kurosawas was basically kidnapped in Asheville for like 4 months. And I'm like, but Six Samurai we got here because one of them starved.
Wanted to shout this out because Steven commented it, and I'm genuinely considering it. Steven says, once I get my copy of Murder, She Wrote, the box set, which, yes, it is on the way. I told everybody I was going to do it because it's a masterpiece of a show. He says, we're going to do a special 2-hour podcast review of the set and general discussion of the show and why it's so great. And we might.
Steven, I would tune in for that. I mean, Angela Lansbury is a badass.
She's incredible.
Film actor and TV actor. Gaslight, Manchurian Candidate, so many. And the show was good too. I mean, the thing is, they're episodic. They're like, now everything you got to watch season 1 and keep up with the narrative. But sometimes it's fine to just have a nice show that wraps up at the end of the hour. So
yeah. I've got just a couple things left that I wanted to show because I've not seen many people pick this one up. I got in the Crazies 4K Steelbook from Lionsgate Limited. I've always loved this as one of the modern remakes. I think it is better than Romero's release of the Crazies. Really like some of the Lionsgate Steelbooks. I don't love Steelbooks anymore, so I would have much rather have got this in a standard, but I will take it as I can, I guess. But while there, may as well try to get something since you're already paying like $10 for shipping. So also wanted to check out Freaky Tales, which
that's a good one. Yeah,
I missed at Panic Fest this year when I was attending, and I've heard that this is really great. And they put out this special clamshell VHS style release, and it's got just the disc inside and then a sticker sheet for anybody that wants it. Also had a digital copy. Cool. Yeah, fun release. But man, even though I love The Nice Guys, the thing that excited me the most, that you literally just watched me take out of a cardboard box right before we went live, I am loving what Hammer is doing and the Quatermass experiments coming in, this giant 4K set in everything that you could possibly want. I mean, this is a box within a sleeve, and then inside, so much that you can ever want for a film. And
Ephemera, yeah, in
this
spades.
is this is a movie that genuinely charges it, or not charges it, is
Mhm.
worth it. This is a movie that is groundbreaking in sci-fi. This is a movie that people have truly cherished since release. It was a masterpiece that has spawned multiple sequels. The Quatermass Experiment, if you've never seen it, everybody should see it at least once. It is so great. And yeah, cannot wait to see this in 4K, but literally just took it out of the box, so I've not been able to watch it yet.
So this is going to become a theme in that being absorbed by a book and missing out on the disconnected community. I did see mentions of that, but I think I missed the boat. I'm sure it's sold out by now, right?
I don't think it is, especially at
Really?
like retailers. Yeah, I think there's lots of
Okay.
them.
I'll check Orbit later, but yeah, no, that's one of I did see it and I was like, oh, must buy, but then of course back to Ty West or whomever it was that
Yeah.
week.
Yeah,
So
totally get that. But on top of that, you've been watching stuff recently, and there was actually an A24 film that came out this week. So what have you been watching lately?
yeah, well, there was this week. Well, I guess this week is technically today, but 28 years later, I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna try to go. I'm hearing great things, but last week was Materialists. So the Celine song, her follow up to Past Lives, and I saw a comment somebody mentioned earlier that they had seen. I think that the comment was something of the in the vein of, "I'm glad it wasn't like the trailer," and
Yeah,
of course, I'm basically obligated to go see every A24 film as soon as possible. So that's my trip out of the house to get away from these online spaces that I love and
yeah,
touch grass, as they say. But but the thing is, I love Past Lives. I think it's a great story. This is where representation is important. So Celine Song is a tremendous filmmaker, as we saw. I mean, right out of the gate, getting a Best Picture nom, huge.
it's
But
crazy.
I could see a lot of studios saying, "Hey, okay, there's Crazy Rich Asians, there's Everything Everywhere. Make another Asian film." But
Right.
and of course she has that lived experience. But she also was a matchmaker, and she could cast an Asian, but she cast who is best for the role. So it was more of a Celine song. Now it's not Past Lives. It's not nothing. You can never get
Right.
Aaron to run. Hey, Sibner. But I see. I read Celine's song is running errands, um, but well, the movie is kind of about running errands, making meeting people, in a way. And but the thing is, it's recognizably a Celine song movie. Like you can
Very much
tell it has that voice, and I can't wait to read the script because it feels like a Celine song script. It does not feel like a rom-com. That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be like a return to like Clueless, or 10 Things I Hate About You, or 31st Dates. Might have the numbers wrong. I don't watch a lot of
so. Yeah.
rom-coms, but no, I'm glad it wasn't. I thought it was a good character study. A lot of people loved it, but it sounds like you saw it as well. What do you think?
I did. I saw it last weekend, double feature in the theater. My wife and I, we saw The Life of Chuck
Okay.
first, and that movie, for anybody that's not seen it yet, I won't say much because it's it's an experience that pretty much everybody should take. If you're somebody that goes and sees stuff in the theater, you should go see The Life of Chuck. There's
Okay.
things that he visually pulls off in that movie that I don't know that I've ever seen even attempted in film, which was incredible. Like one of those
Hmm.
movies that gives you goosebumps multiple times. Just great stuff. The Life of Chuck is excellent. Still not, in my opinion, my favorite Flanagan, but incredible, absolutely incredible. But Materialists, following that up, yeah, a lot of people expected a rom com, but in all reality, I just kind of expected really great writing, and it delivered on that.
Mhm.
She knows how to write people. That's the thing. She is really
She
great
does.
at developing characters, giving motivations through really great expressive dialogue in a way that you can relate
Mhm.
to pretty much anybody and understand what they're going through. Um, I thought it was really great. The hard part here is it's inevitable when it's somebody's second film to say sure, but how does it
Right. Right.
layer up to the first film? And Past Lives is genuinely a masterpiece. It is a
I agree.
film
Yeah.
most people would like dream of that being their best movie, And to have that come out, you're going to have a lot of pressure. And but again, Materialists is very good. If it would have came out before Past Lives, everybody would have been like, "Oh my God, this person's going to the stratosphere.
Right,
This is
right.
incredible." But for a lot of people, I think it's going to be, quote, disappointing. But I don't even know that that's
Yeah.
really necessary to be in the conversation, because nobody's going to do a Past Lives every single time. That's
Temper expectations. Yeah, you're not going to get a
so
10 out of
difficult.
10. I mean, some directors have, and Celine Song, I think, has a very long career, and I'm looking forward to anything she comes out with, genre otherwise. And whether Asian, white, black, any care. Frankly, I think she's just a really good writer, and this was, I guess, two white people. I don't know, is Pascal a person of color? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Great character. Lots of kind of a snarky look at relationships. I think it would
Close
actually
to
be,
yuppie even.
yeah, it would be a good double feature with. This was a good double feature. Wow, tip of the tongue. Another snarky relationship. It'll come to me probably in about an hour. So
We'll be
Julian,
deep into
thank you.
number 5 on the list. To be like, oh yeah.
He's great. The thing with Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans, I don't really think of them as great actors, and that's not they're basically take big mainstream roles. I've been impressed with Johnson a couple times. I just rewatched Sesperia, which I think she was great. I think her kind of monotone, expressionless a persona worked for that film, and I think it worked here too. And worked with Celine Song's dialogue. So kind of like she almost is a little bit like a Greta Lee persona, as far as her delivery. So I think it worked. And it's not like laugh out loud. There are some fun. It's not like Friendship, for example. Tim Robinson. There are some funny parts, but they kind of sit with you. So there's a big thing about height, and there's a punchline, but it's more just like the way it's written, the way it's portrayed. So it's better. It's more of like an in joke. I'm not going to spoil it, but we could make a lot of height. Well, Ryan is a lot taller than me, so
so maybe something happened. No, I'm just kidding.
If there's a way I could resolve that. So maybe that's in the movie, maybe not. I don't know.
On that note, I've already talked about at least one other thing that I watched this week, so I won't go too much into this. A couple things that I wanted to really shout out, though. First of all, I had my best movie watching week that wasn't a part of a film festival in years. Genuinely watched 13 movies in the last week, which for somebody that is working every day on stuff, this never happens. So I'm soaking it up. I really wanted to throw out there the film I Like Movies. It's listed as 2022, but I think most people never had a chance to see it till 2024. So I could see it being on people's list last year a couple times. It's on Amazon Prime now, streaming for free if you've got Prime. It is essentially about a neurodivergent character that goes to work at a video store because he has a passion for movies, and that's his only in. And the store is like, yeah, you're a little quirky, but we'll deal with it. And how he is transitioning from high school into the upcoming college year. I adored this movie. There are so many things about this that I could relate to. It was insane on every single side of the story. I really hope people check this out because it is really wonderfully acted with not really a ton of names that you would recognize. There's a couple character actors that you might have seen in the background of some stuff, but nobody there that's huge necessarily. And then the other big thing, I really, really want to highlight this, and this is a random movie to talk about, but Jason Bateman's Bad Words from 2013 is about
fun.
Jason Bateman going to a spelling bee and kicking ass for a bunch of 5th and 6th graders. I never saw it because it looked really dumb, and something came up, and I was like, I can watch this while I work on some stuff. And I found it just to have so much heart, some really great dialogue that I'm going to be remembering forever. Bateman directed it, and there is a lot in this movie that is just cinematic in a way that we don't get in a lot of comedies. I mean, he pulls off some stuff with slow motion in 3 or 4 scenes. He delivers some really great sweeping shots that come out of nowhere. He lines things up in a way that it's not even just proper framing. It's so wonderfully thought out for the first time that you could tell that when he saw this in his mind, he was like, this is exactly how it's got to be. And it came out in just this really great package, and I liked it so much more than I expected. It was really great. And then the last thing, I finally watched the 4K from imprint of The Neverending Story. I understand that this thing is prohibitively expensive for pretty much everybody under the sun, but if you get a chance to just get one of these discs, and I hope somebody else releases it eventually, the 4K for this movie is mind-blowing.
Wow.
The Never-Ending Story is, it's always been a pretty movie, but there's so many things in this movie that are practical to a degree that needs to be delivered in a like really beautiful setup. And just the first, I don't know, 3 minutes of this movie, I was already gobsmacked with how it looked. It was astonishing. My kids loved it, which I kind of did not expect,
Right.
considering the style of the movie and how attention spans have changed. I watched the German version that came out on 4K through this. I'd never seen it. I'd only ever seen the English version, and it is quite different. It's like 12 minutes of different scenes, but I had not seen the original in so long. It all just felt like it was brand new. So yeah, great delivery in this 4K disc. Imprint really puts a
Nice.
lot of love in some of their stuff. And again, I understand it's very expensive, but it is great.
I have a feeling that'll come up a little later. Expensive and imprint. Yeah, they put out great stuff. I did, I kind of I love the movie. I mean, I was a kid when I saw it. Like a lot of people. So it kind of has that. I remember it with that childlike wonder. So I haven't bought that. Really, it's for shelf space. I just don't know where I'd put it. And my house is not getting any bigger. I mean, and I have plenty of room, but still. The one thing, well, we'll get into imprint, but I'm not sure when they sell out nowadays. It's they're limited releases. Like the Keep, of course, has not sold out, and that who knows how many copies of that they've sold. I
Well,
kind of have
a couple things. That's the first one in a long time they did not announce a number for. They always say that
yeah.
things are limited to 1,500. The Keep did not get a number, which is very intriguing.
I think there might be a special deal. I mean, who knows? It might be however many pre-orders by a certain date. I'm just speculating, making stuff up, and that could be 50,000, and more power to them. I think it's fine to love what you have. I still have the Vinegar Syndrome, so I'm not in the market. But yeah, Neverending Story. I might pick up that someday. I probably could find a cheap one if it's not sold out. Maybe on eBay. I don't know, but probably not.
Queer. Jim is asking about Queer. I'm assuming that you've seen Queer based on the.
Yeah. Well, it's actually A24. I'm putting in the other room, like you all know, but it's right by my TV. So, because of course I'm writing an A24 book. So yeah, not movie. Queer is a very good movie. Great performance by Daniel Craig. It's a little bit of a longer one. It's a period piece that I think works, but it might test some people's patience. But I think it's a very strong movie. Maybe not the best of theirs, but still extremely good. I'm not surprised it didn't get a lot of love at the Oscars and award season, but yeah, definitely worth checking out. And yeah, we might get into A24 as a distributor of discs too. So.
We absolutely will. More stuff that I watched. I'll be talking about finally posting some stuff on the Patreon feed of like roundups of stuff I've been watching and more takes on those. Also going to be dropping some of the things that I've been working on that have either been announced or that I haven't done a lot for that I have to be secretive about that people know about. Literally just had somebody text me because I'm trying to produce. This is so stupid, but somebody's trying to record a commentary that I helped produce tonight, and they're having some problems. So hopefully they can get that figured out while we're doing this.
Well, if you want, I'll just handle it. You take care, Biz.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks, everybody. And
but what's funny is we both keep secrets pretty well, and sometimes it's like, oh, I already know this. Oh, I know this too. So it's like a club. But sorry, we are very good at playing dumb. Yeah. But yeah, looking forward to that. I love the production. That's the thing. I looked at my Letterboxd and I watched 363 movies this year, and it's June. That's a record for me, probably a lifetime record. So yeah, so you mentioned Drop. I watched Drop last night. Yeah, not a fan. Didn't. I think the conceit was do people use AirDrop that much?
I've used it 9 times just this week.
And maybe I'm just that's my age. I'm just too old for AirDrop. But yeah, I thought it was a bit of a conceit to design a whole movie about airdropping. A lot of Toby Hooper. I rewatched Salem's Lot, which I think is really, especially the miniseries, is really slept on. Really, I can't believe that aired on TV. It's so scary.
Yeah.
And yeah, Hooper was great. Well, of course, obviously one of the greatest, maybe the greatest horror film of all time with Texas Chainsaw. But yeah, been watched a lot of his. I watched almost everything of Mia Goth's because I'm interested in looking at her as a scream queen and just kind of looking at her entire body of work outside of the X trilogy. So wow, 444. Okay, well,
That's
I can't wait
crazy
to
old.
read your book. Wow, yeah. So yeah,
Jeez.
usually I'd probably be like at 100 or so by now. And what's crazy is I have to assign myself so much watching that I'm missing out on a lot of stuff. But there's some stuff I watch as palate cleansers. But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. So yeah, Mia Goth, Emma, Cure for Wellness, Nymphomaniac, and I watched part one again, and I forgot she's only in part two. So 4 hours, 4.5 hours for like five minutes of. Damn, Scott.
Yeah, that's a lot. 570 for Scott is crazy.
Yeah.
God, I'm jealous. That's awesome.
Please follow me on Letterboxd. I gotta find out what the hell you're watching, and are it like short films or if this is features, then yeah, maybe it's time for a trip to Chipotle.
Yeah, I don't even think I
Not
have.
shaming, not shaming.
I don't even think I have 100 on my letterbox because there's a lot of stuff I had to not share that I was
Right.
watching. But even like 15 of mine are shorts from this year.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, somebody has suggested I not share the A24 films because if you want to see where I'm at with my book, you can see it on my letterbox. It's all there. But yeah, it's so that is tons of rewatches. My stats are really a lot of fun though. So for the first time ever.
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, anything else we want to chat about before we get into our announcements then, sir? As
No,
we're
I
40
think
minutes into this.
yeah, we got a lot to go, and we have this big guy director thing. So yeah.
Yeah, let's get into it then. First up, right after our show last week, How to Train Your Dragon, this brand new live action remake that just dropped. They're doing this 4K Steelbook. You can pre order this now. I think there's going to be another variant, at least one around the world. I wouldn't be surprised if there was another one. I have not seen the live action remake, but I actually really enjoyed the animated version. And
Me too.
supposedly it's essentially the exact same movie, and it's the same director. So I'm sure it's pretty great.
Yeah. I've heard good things. This is not one I mean I know it's going to be better in theaters, but live action remakes just generally I don't mind. Like The Lion King. I'm glad I waited for that. Barry Jenkins. Sorry Barry, I love you, but that was an L. But still worth watching. I'll watch this when it comes to this. This is a great palate cleanser kind of movie.
Yeah.
Watch with the kids. I'm sure for you. Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right.
Not buying the steelbook though, but that's fine.
After this, Shout announced that they were putting out Larry Cohen Mystery and Misdirection. This is a Shout Factory site exclusive, limited to 2,500 units. You can pick this up already. It's got the poster that comes with it, and then the films. They've got the private files of J. Edgar Hoover. They've got special effects, and they've got Wicked Stepmother. On J. Edgar Hoover, this has a brand new feature called The Most Feared Man, scoring the private files of J. Edgar Hoover, an interview with Daniel Schweiger. Literally nothing on special effects, which kind of stinks. And then on Wicked Stepmother, this was a new 2K scan, just like Private Files was, but this also has Which is Which, editing Wicked Stepmother, an interview with editor David Kern. This is pretty cool for people that are into Larry Cohen stuff. I know there's a lot of people that definitely wanted more. I don't know. It's Shout. You got to kind of temper expectations with this stuff.
Yeah, well, there is actually audio with special effects, so it's not a silent. There is actually a sound there. Yeah, I don't really have much for this. I don't think I've seen any of the three, but I do know Larry Cohen by reputation. I think I've probably seen a few of his films. I see comments about Marrowbone. I don't love it, so I thought it's okay. I'm guessing that's because of Mia Goth, but Survivalist is surprisingly good, or The Survivalist. I thought that was good, kind of like a Reichardt movie. But anyway,
Marrowbone was a great cast. I didn't love it either.
Same, yeah.
All right,
here we go.
We gotta get into Imprint, and they announced a hell of a month. No matter how you shake it, these are kind of crazy to come out of imprint all at once, but we're definitely have some thoughts here. So the first one, all of these are all Blu-ray discs. None of these are 4K. They're all coming on August 27th out of Australia, and there is a lot here to get into. So first is the Hitchcock 9. This covers the films from 1925 to 1929. We've got The Pleasure Garden, The Lodger, The Ring, Downhill, The Farmer's Wife, Easy Virtue, Champagne, The Manxman, Blackmail, and the big thing here is The Pleasure Garden had never been on Blu-ray before this, and this also has the documentary I Am Alfred Hitchcock. There are lots of new special features on here. There's so many that this had to be on countless pages of Instagram because it's so detailed. A lot to cover. I don't even know if we can go over it all, but how do you feel about the Hitchcock 9 here?
We can't, but I'm relieved to let me know that you shared this about your Instagram, because I snuck a peek and I was like, what the hell? Imprint released like 40 things. Like, am I ever gonna sleep tonight? I mean, of course, Hitchcock. This is a phenomenal set. Yeah, we can't get into the supplements, but there's tons of them. Lots of great commentaries. Lots of people I love and admire on this set. And the films, I think his silent works, his early work does not quite measure up to like his late British career, early Hollywood, early and late Hollywood. Well, not late, but but there's some really good stuff here. Yeah, the one that the better films I think are available elsewhere. But the thing is, you got to beware, because a lot of these are like public domain, and bad copies are around. A couple of them are on Criterion. I think maybe Kino has a couple. But yeah, no, if you're even close to a Hitchcock fan, this is a must own, and I'm sure it'll sell out. It probably hasn't already, but I think it probably will. I don't like to induce FOMO. I know you don't, but I don't think this is sticking around long. It's expensive. That's the thing is, you're going to pay a premium for these discs. I'm personally not going to buy it because I own maybe 4 or 5 of them. I'm not sure. I mean, even I love his early stuff too, but I still, it's not peak. So
the other big
thing, are you going to get this?
I don't know. Maybe eventually. It's a lot of money, and that's I don't want to ever dissuade people. If they love it, go after it. I think the really special thing here is that pretty much everything is getting brand new special features, and on Hitchcock, that's sort of hard to come by, because a lot of people are like, it's Hitchcock, everything has been said that has needed to be said. But honestly, it's just not true. Like, takes on many of these films have changed over the last literally 100 years. There are, contexts that we can build now that we know more than we did 25 years ago. And now that we're getting a film for the first time in HD, like, there's a lot of reasons to get this. It's a lot of money to import stuff from imprint, and I will never take away from that. The fact that, it is, just like I talked about, Never Ending Story. This box set is prohibitively expensive for most people, which I totally get. But it's also like one of the most important directors of all time. So it feels like a must own.
And I don't want to be that guy that reads the chat, but Wonderman had a great point that, we our whole journey concept is looking through a body of work. And yes, not everybody's going to be a past lives. Even Hitchcock did not have a past lives out of the gate, or a Vertigo. But you can see the genesis. Yeah, it's not, the early work is not as great. I think right when you hit like The Lady Vanishes, that's, I think, what really when that peak period started to come in. But they're all pretty much worth watching. I don't think I thought, oh fuck, I had to watch that Hitchcock movie. I can say fuck, right?
Of course. That's not even the first time you have tonight. You're good.
Oh yeah, that's just what yeah, no, I'm not going to buy it. Like, if I hear it's a low stock, I don't know, maybe I'll pull the trigger. But yeah, it's a lot of money.
Sam wants to know if we think these will get 4Ks, and let's be honest, this is the hard thing to answer about somebody like Hitchcock, because somebody could just say, you know what, fuck it, we've got $1 million laying around, let's put it on Hitchcock. But also, probably not. Most of these likely will never get a UHD, but the reality is, I could see the Lodger getting one, because it's one of the more well-known
Lodger
ones.
Blackmail, maybe
down.
I mean, yeah, probably not. But the thing is, at first I thought, okay, well, there's probably, with some old films, there's probably not a lot of appreciable differences with 4K to blue, but honestly, there are. There's just a lot more dimension in the image. So Yeah, I would buy the larger 4K if it came out for sure, but that probably wouldn't be a determining factor of me buying this set or not. It's more the price. Frankly, I think it's priced like a 4K set, and I think that's actually my issue with it. So maybe it won't sell as fast as I'm expecting.
Um, yeah, maybe. Uh, I don't know. It's tough to really call out, but yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see.
great release though. Yeah, I understand the excitement.
Next up is Alfred Hitchcock: The Early Years, Volume One, which means
Yeah.
that they're planning at least a Volume Two. So this covers 1931 to 1935, and this one we've got The Skin Game, Rich and Strange, Number 17, The Man Who Knew Too Much, The 39 Steps. This is a 5 disc hard box, and again, we've got
Hmm.
new special features. We've got lots of archival features, lots to talk about. It's Hitchcock again. Like, it's going to be a little expensive, but it's also something that it's Hitchcock, and imprint, and Australia specifically has never gotten these really like great box sets for Hitchcock, and so these are finally getting the love that they could. But
Nice,
even
nice.
like the 39 Steps, it's got a new audio commentary with Kim Newman and Barry Forshaw. That is
Yeah.
going to be incredible. It's going to be a great
Hmm.
commentary, I guarantee it. Yeah, how do you feel about these five? Anything special you want to call out?
Well, yeah, they're great films. Again, I'm leading up to the peak period, so yeah, they're getting better. So the earlier earlier years, but not the earliest. So
Right.
the mid early. uh, no, I mean, I guess the films are better. He's maturing as a filmmaker. This early British work is probably my preference. I like his mid era Hollywood stuff too, a whole lot. But I mean, you can't really go wrong with a Hitchcock set of any era, any size. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I have the 39 Steps, The Man Who Knew Too Much. I think those are the only two I have so currently, which is yeah, interesting. I wonder, would they put out standalone releases? I don't think they've done that much before breaking stuff out, but I could see,
No.
if there's a BFI restoration, I could see them coming out. I mean, Hitchcock, they're all going to come out again and again, probably.
Scott is asking, how much is the tariffs adding to orders like this? Haven't ordered anything overseas since it went into place. I believe we're down to less than 10% at the moment.
Yeah, and I've noticed that some of the Diabolic Orbit are refunding or stopped charging tariffs. So hopefully, I mean, yeah, I think that's silly. I don't see why we should pay more to buy shit from other countries that isn't out here. But okay, yeah, that's good to know.
Brian's got a great point here. He says, not to say it's not a big chunk of money, but if you get the Hitchcock bundle, which is all four of these announcements, it's $323 shipped with no taxes, which honestly, for what they're putting out and things that
It's
have
not
never
bad.
been on HD before, it's not a terrible ask, especially because it's free shipping.
Hmm.
That's pretty decent.
How are the other two releases though?
Let's get into it. The next one is the 39 Steps and the Lady Vanishes, and these are worldwide Blu-ray debuts. But wait, they've been on Blu-ray before. No, no, no. This is 1978 and
Yeah.
1979. These are remakes of Hitchcock classics, and they are, according to a lot of people, not great. Aaron, how do you feel about these?
I haven't seen them, but there are a lot. That was a thing in the 70s. A lot of people here probably know that there were a lot of remakes of, especially noir films. And I would, you could argue that these are like pre-noir, a little bit. I mean, Hitchcock, of course, was a figure in noir. Um, yeah, like Murder My Sweet, Long Goodbye. I mean, well, that's a good remake, one of the rare ones, but some aren't. I don't have the whole list, but there's a whole lot. Yeah, my hopes would not be high. I love 70s film, but not, I've seen better. They're not going to surpass the original. I wouldn't buy this on its own. So this would actually probably cancel out the value of the bundle because sure, you save a little money, but you're really putting the savings towards this that you wouldn't buy anyway.
Yeah. However, another thing that I'll praise Imprint for: two more titles that have never been released anywhere on HD on
Oh
physical
yeah.
media, and that is a big deal.
And if anybody loves 70s remake of noir, and there are some decent ones, you're not there are very few like 10 out of 10, but yeah, no, there's good performances in this, I'm sure. I think pretty good directors. I forget who worked on this, but yeah. Oh, and interesting point with Hammer's last film. I didn't know that. So yeah. I mean, those are such good films that such good films that I wouldn't hesitate to watch them again. I probably wouldn't buy them, but if they're like streaming somewhere, but yeah, Murder My Wallet, that's a great one. Yeah,
That was great, Mozart. Good job.
he gets comment of the night so far.
So far, yeah. Next is a completely different take on the
He or
Hitchcock
she,
stuff
yeah,
because this is
yeah.
not Hitchcock, but it's Powell and Pressburger. This is the cinema of Powell and Pressburger from 1939 to 1947. In this, we've got The Spy in Black, 49th Parallel, The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, A Canterbury Tale. This is a worldwide Blu-ray debut for that one. A Matter of Life and Death, Black Narcissus, all coming in a limited 7-disc box set, 1,500 copies only. Again, brand new special features all over this box. Too much to cover. Brand new commentaries, brand new interviews, brand new featurettes. Daniel Kramer all over this stuff. Kevin Lyons all over this stuff. Kim Newman on all over this stuff. It is immense what they are doing out of Australia right now.
Yeah, between them and Umbrella, yeah, they're killing it. My Haneke set is probably I think in a few weeks getting released.
Yep.
As it happens, and you know this, Ryan, is that we just had an online class with taught by Imogen Sarah Smith, who is written about Powell and Pressburger. Big fan. It was 5 weeks. And we looked. Well, what's funny is some of the films, weren't available on disc. I think a couple of them people had to seek out on YouTube. In fact, I think maybe one or two of them here. And in A Matter of Life and Death, it's Criterion, but it's out of print Criterion. So
yeah.
And it's not on the channel. No, it's not out of print. It's just not on the channel. So so it's tough to track down these films. And there are some masterpieces here. This is also volume 1. Yeah, if you like Powell and Pressburger, I mean, this is where I got to be careful. So I think I already own, I think, let's see, half of them for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I just see 4 I own currently. So yeah, I love Daniel, everybody, Kim, of course. So I'd love the supplements. Would love to go for another spin. Yeah, this is I mean, it's hard to argue to rebuy your films just because cool people talk about them. So yeah, what's the price?
On this one, let me pull it up in another tab because I don't remember
yeah.
this one, but it's not cheap necessarily. It's still pricey.
Yeah,
this is Australian, almost $200, but in the US, that's got to be
160. I'd say 150, 160,
150-ish, probably.
That's pretty good, actually. Like, yeah, that's pretty for these films, especially with a couple of them. Spy in Black has not been out that much, so yeah, 125.
Brian says it's 125.
It's hard. Yeah, I mean that actually might be worth it for me, just to enjoy these again. But of course, I just saw them, so all of them actually, including what's in part 2. So personally, maybe not, but if you love Powell and Pressburger, you got to buy this set. It looks like it's going to be gorgeous. So yeah.
So here's the other thing. Before we go to the last thing, which is sort of different, it's still Hitchcock, but it's different than the rest of the stuff. I do want to point out one thing, which a lot of people are going to have different levels of buyer's remorse in this hobby all the time. Powell and Pressburger and Hitchcock are, and no shade on them, they're great filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
2 of the most exploited filmmakers on physical media ever. So if you're thinking these are expensive or these could be better, honestly, just wait. They will all likely get more releases in the future.
And I love Emperor, and I want them to stay in business. So of course, if you like it, I always say if you want something, buy it, because you never know. Now, do I expect these will come out elsewhere down the road in 4K? That's actually a great point here. This is not 4K. I want to say, well, Red Shoes is in 4K. I don't think Black Narcissus is.
Not yet.
Matter of Life and Death is not. Yeah, so I don't think any of this group. Blimp is not. So yeah.
Eventually, I'm sure some of them.
I'm sure all, maybe not Spy in Black or 49 Parallel, but I would say probably that and Canterbury Tale. Yeah, those are
probably at least half of these, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the other half of the ones I just mentioned, but I could see all of them being 4K eventually. Powell and Pressburger are loved for a reason, and they make boutique labels a lot of money.
All right. So now let's go to the last one. And it's Hitchcock, but it's very different.
Yeah.
This is the Alfred Hitchcock Hour from 1962. This is again volume 1. So they are planning on putting more of this series out. This is an 8-disc Blu-ray set plus a 130-page hardcover booklet. Again, brand new extras, tons of audio commentaries, more special features to be confirmed later. If you are into Hitchcock, I know a lot of people like the other TV stuff that we'll probably get later from him and special stuff, special releases like this. But again, if you're a Hitchcock completist, just add it to the cart at this point, basically.
The TV shows they're pretty much all great. I mean, yeah, they're not the films, but the TV shows were not films. I mean, they're a little closer now. This is actually the one I'm most excited about because this is the one I don't have anything from.
Same.
So I would love every Hitchcock TV show. It feels like that's almost obligatory. We'll get shout out Imprint. Man, they do great TV. Frankly, I wish more labels were doing classic TV. And so, yeah, I'm really thrilled about this. This is probably top of the queue. If I pull the trigger, it'll be this. How many copies?
This one is 1,500 or 2,000, I think.
Yeah. So hopefully stay in print for a while. But yeah, great stuff.
Great stuff. Imprint, keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate all the hard work. It is crazy to do all this in 1 month. I don't know of many other companies that could have pulled off what you just did. So kudos on that.
People called it one of the best label month releases. And even though, I mean, I have not pulled the trigger, it's hard to argue against that. These are wonderful releases.
And important releases.
Yeah. The Prisoner,
Next
I agree.
up,
great.
Speaking of important releases, Sony releasing Krull, Krull from 1983 in a 4K steelbook on September 16th. A film that many people never thought would get a Blu-ray, that got some pretty bad Blu-rays, now coming to 4K. No new special features from what I can tell, but this is a movie that has needed a better restoration for quite some time. And here it is in a classic Sony 4K steelbook. We've got Dolby Vision already, so this is not going to be getting another, fancy release in 2 years where they add that or anything like this. This is likely going to be the best release of this film ever.
Yeah.
This is
fun.
crazy.
Yeah. No, don't expect. I mean, it is, 80s. Kind of campy sci-fi. It's what you expect or what you want out of a. It's not a masterpiece, but it's a lot of fun. So no, this is great. I probably will pick this one up at some point.
Oh, Tyler, I'm not going to touch that comment with the poll, but that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Kino, as the next in their Kino cult line, we are getting The Vengeance of Dr. Mabuse from 1972. This is coming on August 19th on Blu-ray. This is a Jess Franco film. It's going to have an audio commentary with Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson, a film that people have wanted for quite some time. Glad it's getting a Blu-ray release. Not the last time that we're going to be talking about Jess Franco tonight, which will make a lot of Francophiles very, very happy. I've not seen this one, and I hear it's one of the better Francos if you're not a Francophile.
Very different cover than the one we're going to talk about later, and also Dr. Mabuse. So speaking of Fritz Lang, so it's a continuation of that series, and they're pretty much all good. I think there are maybe a couple I haven't seen. I will see with Adrian's class. I haven't seen this, so I'm looking forward to this. I don't know if it's on streaming somewhere, but yeah, no, I love I'm Franco. Well, Sean Baker will get into Franco a little bit, but yeah.
Turn the page.
Francophiles.
The eyes are staring at me. August 19th, Kino is also releasing a 4K of Coneheads. This gets a brand new 4K scan of the OCN. And as for new extras, you get nothing. You got a commentary with Michael Felsher and the director Steve Barron. I don't think that's new. They didn't label it as new. It could be new. But considering it shows Michael Felsher, I'm actually bound to think that it probably is new, and they just missed the word new there. You got some old archival extras on here, but this is a classic for many people, one of their favorites, one of the great SNL led movies. How do you feel about Coneheads, Aaron?
I think that this might be my path to getting to your height. So just a little more on that. I mean, I
Yep.
like okay, if you like those old SNL skit adaptations, I think they've gotten better through the years. I think really the tide turned for me personally. I know it's divisive. I think MacGruber is one of the best adaptations. Coneheads, the movie did not live up to like this, but the skit was a retread, basically.
Yeah.
Always funny, but kind of the same joke. We're from France, but still a lot of fun. Yeah, it's not for me, but I would. That's one I wouldn't mind streaming. I don't need the cone in 4K. Like I don't need to see the lighting on that top of the dash.
Horrors on the prosthetic.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need to see where the lines are, but it is a fun movie. I love it. That's a great palate cleanser.
I the MacGruber comment, one of the best SNL movies. I have to say, I don't even think it's close. I think MacGruber is number one by like 30 points. I think MacGruber is a
Yeah.
masterpiece.
I actually, well, kind of as a joke, but not really. I put it on my best of all time list, and I eventually removed it. But because I guess like if you want to look objectively, it's not even going back to Past Lives. It's not Past Lives, but for me, it's a perfect movie. I can.
I mean,
I mean, Past Lives did not have a celery in a butt. That's every movie should have a naked man with celery in his butt, of course. Sorry, spoiler. Is that a tier, a Patreon tier? Celery butts.
only if you're the one posing. I ain't doing it.
Oh, Wayne's
Tell
World's a good one too.
Superstar is
Yeah,
great. Superstar is fantastic.
there's Superstar. Yeah, fun stuff. Yeah,
Wayne's World
Roxbury
is my number.
Brothers. Yeah,
Wayne's World is my number two. Everybody commenting that for sure.
that's nice. That's a great topic. That could be another reconnected. I would definitely love the chat.
Ooh,
And
rank the SNL movies. That's a good idea.
yeah.
Damn it.
MacGruber though. MacGruber's number one.
Next up, one that we announced, I think, last fall, and people have been waiting a long time for. August 19th from Kino, a Blu-ray of Gung Ho from 1986. This is a Michael Keaton film that has sadly never been on Blu-ray, I don't think, in a legal release
Really?
anywhere in the world. This has new audio commentary by the author Dwayne Epstein. We've also got a new interview with the actor Getty Watanabe. There's a new interview with George Wendt on here, which is quite timely considering he has now passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really fun looking release. I am definitely going to check this out eventually. The only hard part, I've never been solid on Ron Howard filmmaking, so I'm not expecting a lot.
Have you seen the series, The Studio?
I've not. I'm pretty much waiting until
It's worth it.
Watch.
It's worth it, and that's a great. So speaking of Past Lives, Greta Lee's in it. Very. She has
nice.
a fun quote about A24 actually. So Ron Howard comes up and Ron Howard comes up as an auteur, like very praised. I mean, he's got a reputation in Hollywood now. I often I don't love his films, or sometimes I don't even like them, but he's put together a body of work. I wouldn't think of him as like a great auteur, but I will say that Gung Ho is a lot of fun. You haven't seen Gung Ho?
Never.
Of course, Michael Keaton is a big reason, and it's really a great story about kind of like the Japanese import industrial. And I'm not selling it very well, but because it is a comedy. But I would recommend. I mean, maybe not as a blind buy, but I wouldn't let Ron Howard be the factor that you don't buy this. This is a lot of fun. This movie's really, really good, actually.
I mean, yes, he's made good movies. Like Apollo 13 is great. Backdraft is fine. I haven't watched Backdraft in a long time to know if it truly holds up. But I mean, I don't know. Like,
I would put this up top tier. Like if we're doing it on the Howard tier, this is almost S tier.
wow.
That's like so I'm like Past Lives would be like B compared to Past Lives. So
Yeah,
I don't know why
normally
we
I'd
keep going
say
to Past Lives.
I'd say Ron Howard puts like the sack in saccharin or something like that. But yeah.
He's not very exciting, but oh nice. Yeah.
Let's go to our next one. Coming soon from Kino, the French Noir Collection, Volume 2. This one with Rhine Virgin. The Beast is Loose, Trapped by Fear, and the Passion of Slow Fire. No release date on this yet. This one is from 1953 to 1961 with some big names. Lino Ventura coming up a lot lately. Jean-Paul Belmondo, of course.
Yeah. Jean Gabin has basically been my avatar for like my entire online life. So
That is true.
anywhere you find me, you will see Jean Gabin. People think I am him, which I'm okay with. You can think that. Look at me and
Maybe
think,
eventually it'll transition from that to Mifune.
yeah. Last time on your show, they said the dad from Home Alone. So I preferred Jean Gabin. um, uh, Three great. I've probably seen at least some of these, probably the French titles. I don't know what they're translated to. I do love me some French noir, and I do love those three actors. I love the idea that they're just putting the set out because some of the best noir, personally, I think, is French noir. Of course, Melville, I think, is the gold standard there, and a lot of these actors worked with Melville. Well, really Ventura, but yeah, Bavando was in like a gazillion movies. I mean,
I
great
feel like
star, and
I
so
feel
was
like
Ventura and
Kino
Gabin.
I feel like Kino just, I don't know, like they signed a barrel of Belmondo films and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's just throw them all out. Come on.
And what's weird with the noir set is seeing the actors getting top billing too. That
Yeah.
says something actually. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I this is one on a sale probably. Kino has a lot of sales. I'll probably grab this and
Yeah.
part one, collection one. So
And actually, on that note, yeah, it should be pretty much time for a Kino sale here soon. I would imagine either late this month or sometime in the first couple weeks of next month. We probably should be hearing something. Speaking of that, we're going to get to Criterion soon, but Criterion is going to be having their big sale soon. Everybody get ready for that. Probably
yeah,
launching near the end of this month
July.
or early July.
Yeah, great. And we'll talk about, well, these will be after the sale. But yeah, so in fact, I was joking with Ryan. I don't know how Ryan does it without peeing. So Ryan, if you could give me like a couple minutes notice before we get to Criterion. I do not have the bladder of steel. It might be a height thing. Maybe just I was not made with the massive bladder that Ryan has.
Look at
Um,
that. John just confirmed. Frank at Kino said next sale is the
nice.
last Thursday of June. I don't know how I got that.
Hmm. Um, yeah, no, what with the Criterion sale, we might be a little broke. I need to stock back up on my Criterions. But yeah, let's go to that next one.
Not to name drop, but literally as we're talking about that, Sean just emailed you and I together again.
Cool.
All right, next, Kino putting out a title that, man, I've not seen a lot of people so divisive in quite some time. Kino sometime soon is releasing 4 rooms on 4 frickin' K. This is the
4K rooms.
1995 4K rooms anthology that's got Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino as the big draw, but
Yeah.
lots of names in this: Tim Roth, Bruce Willis, Antonio Banderas, Jennifer Beals, Madonna, Marissa Tomei, Lily Taylor. There's a lot here. A lot of people just despise this movie.
I don't get that. I think it's, well, the thing is it's an anthology movie, or
Yeah,
so there's 4 parts, there's 4 different directors. Of course, you're not everyone's going to be the same caliber.
yeah.
There are 2, I forget the names, 2 that I love in this set, and 2 that I don't remember that well, so I probably don't love them. I will say that one of them has Tarantino as an actor, and he's, as you'd expect, that is the Tarantino directed one. I think it's the last one. Tons of dialogue, like even too much, if there is such a thing as too much Tarantino.
Classic
But
Tarantino.
he's so fun in that. For 2 of the skits, I'm picking this one up for sure. And yeah, I did see Sean. Sean's a great guy. We'll get to Sean, but yeah, he's probably going to see this later and be like, "Fuck."
How is the Florida Project last on Aaron's list? Next,
Well,
Brother
something's got
Belial.
to be last.
Exactly.
All
Brother
right, you
Belial
talk about
hosting
this one. I'll be right back.
Brother Belial hosting a Visual Vengeance sale going on now from June 16th to the 22nd. Lots of stuff that is limited edition and priced very, very well. Again, Brother Belial, free shipping over $100. So check them out if you've never shopped there. They'll pack it wonderfully. You'll love it. It is featured right when you go to their homepage, right at the very top. So if you're missing any of their stuff in your individual vengeance, go check it out. I've got to wait for Aaron, of course, for Criterions, but let's get into some of these comments on 4 rooms. Brian says 2 of them are great, 1 sucks, and 1 is fine. Steven, does he let his character say a lot of slurs? I don't remember him doing that in that one. Sib says Rodriguez's one is awesome. Yeah, that's the best one, I think. Terry says, didn't catch Four Rooms back in the day, but I think I'll take the time to give it a look. I have it. Funny enough, it's behind me from Visual Vengeance, right there in that pile. I'm pointing at it. Still need to open up the Blu-ray because I'd watched it right before I picked it up. But
what's funny? So okay, TMI probably. I was peeing. That's what I did. And I had my headphones on. And when I heard Criterions, I almost stood up. So thank you for talking about the comments to save my my day of house cleaning tomorrow. So anyway, I'm all good. I should be good for a while. I can't promise. I think Tarantino did. There are some comments. So yeah, that, of course, a lot of early Tarantino films haven't, quote, aged well. And the Rodriguez is my favorite. I want to say it's called like The Misbehaviors or something. Yep. It's really, really good. All right, Criterion's, buddy.
Ready to talk about Toshiro Mifune? September 9th, 4K coming of High and Low by an up-and-coming director named Kurosawa. This is one that people have been talking about over the last few months because this just got another release over in the UK from BFI. However, theirs was, quote, only Blu-ray and not 4K. Mm-hmm. From what I'm hearing, it's not like BFI knew this was coming and they chose to only go 4K. It's Kurosawa. They would have gone 4K if they could. From what I'm hearing, Criterion had access to elements that BFI did not. Now, this one, we've got all of the extras that we've always had on High and Low from Criterion, because this is, of course, not their first release of this. Right. But it's High and Low. It's Kurosawa. It's going to sell like gangbusters for them. Why don't you tell us about this one, Aaron? I know you got a lot to say.
It's about shoes, right? Like the shoe industry. It's a shoe movie.
Kind of like tops and low profits.
Ron Howard's version of shoes. This is a masterpiece, and I'm very encouraged by the Spike Lee remake. And yeah, I know they timed this with that remake, and that's because a lot of people, I think, because of Spike Lee, will hopefully discover this for the first time. I was chatting somewhere recently, and people had never seen it, and like basically nobody had seen it, and I'm thinking, man, this is one of the greatest films of all time to me. And I don't even say that as I think like it's thought of as one of his best films. It's not a samurai film, and that's a great cover, by the way.
I love the art on this.
Yeah, and Mifune and Nakadai are both fantastic in this movie. And then, I don't want to give away the third act, but there's another actor later that's also great. This is a fucked up movie too. So there's my third, at least. I'm sure there'll be more.
We're talking about Sean tonight. There's gonna be a lot of fucks.
There's gonna be a lot of and Sean would, he would not want us to censor ourselves. But no, if you have not seen this movie or don't have this Criterion, or even if you do. This is a must. It's a masterpiece with a capital M.
Yeah, one of the most underseen Kurosawas, one that people just kind of gloss over, and yet here it is on the best physical format possible.
Because it does not have samurais, which is not fair,
Yeah. Next up, Born in Flames by Lizzie Borden, coming on Blu-ray on September 16th. This is a director-approved 2K digital restoration. We've got an introduction by Borden, new audio commentary with Borden, some cast members. We've got the 1976 directorial debut, Regrouping, an experimental doc about a New York City women's group. And then essay by film scholar Yasmina Price and Somer. Brand new cover by Jillian Adele that I think is great. This will look incredible on the Barnes & Noble shelves for people to pick up in November. This looks like
I haven't seen it. This is the only one of the month I haven't seen, but this has been like high on my my to see. So Lizzie Borden did Working Girls, was it? I think that was.
I believe so.
And that's also been on Criterion. No, I just can't wait. This film has a great reputation. I love that Criterion is putting out these kind of films. This is for right in the player kind of. Zach. Lizzie Borden, she had a very multifaceted career. Axe murderer, filmmaker.
Definitely different genres for sure.
Very different genres. So oh my God, dude.
Let's go into our next one, which just like High and Low is timed magnificently
My
because
word.
we've got a sequel coming out to this one. September 16th, 4K and Blu-ray releases coming of This Is Spinal Tap to celebrate its 41st anniversary in the States. This one is a brand new 4K digital restoration, supervised and approved by Rob Reiner. You've got Dolby Vision HDR and HDR11 on this with 2 Blu-rays with the film and special features. 3 audio commentaries. They ported over the one with them in character, which I think is the saving grace here. So glad they did that.
Yes.
New conversation between Rob Reiner and Patton Oswalt. All of the like deleted scenes, outtakes, all that stuff we've always had. They've got Spinal Tap, the final tour from 1981, some trailers, promotional stuff, essay by Alex Papademos. This is Spinal Tap, and this is amazing.
Yeah, and of course, the joke. This one goes to 11. You got that's the joke that doesn't get old. I think it's just it's kind of like cowbell. It's just perfect. The commentary. So the in character commentary is hilarious. I get these mixed up. I think the in character commentary was on the DVD. I want to say the out of character was on the Laserdisc. I could have those reversed. I don't think so, but I could.
I think that's correct. And then all of the Blu-ray releases dropped it, I believe.
Right, exactly. And I haven't seen the out of character one because it's been out of print for a long, long time. I don't have this DVD, so I think this is one of the greatest comedies ever made. I mean, I think a case could be made that this is if you talk about the mockumentary genre, I mean, this is the gold standard. This is really what began that. And now we're getting like Spaceballs. Well, that's not a mockumentary, but a comedy film. And the sequel, frankly, they don't need the sequel to sell this. This is just one of the greatest films of all time, comedy films. 3 commentaries, frankly, I don't care if they're old. New stuff. They don't often do new stuff with upgrades. So I mean, this is again, anybody that doesn't want this, well, I'm not going to finish that sentence, but I think this is going to be a huge seller. This might be, like best of the year candidate. So,
yeah, this is going to be absolutely solid. I am stoked for this. Love this movie. Always have. Want to remind people, if you've never seen This Is Spinal Tap, this is literally a part of, in my opinion, one of the greatest director runs of all time. Rob Reiner had like it's like an 8 to 10 year period. I never remember the number there, but literally some of the best movies ever made. And then that was that.
Yeah. Sorry, Sean tickled me. Not literally. That would be creepy.
Welcome, Sean.
That'll be in the next. I'm cast on the next movie. No, I'm just so happy, and I'm happy this is getting a sequel too. I think in the world, in a time when there's too many sequels, there's not enough originals like Cinnours. I'm very, very happy to get run. And by the way, this is also the start of Christopher Guest. We did a deep dive into Guest's whole, and that was a great run. Really, I think up through Best in Show for your consideration. Kind of, mascots, not so much maybe, but no, this is who doesn't love this? It's so good.
If I am putting wish lists out there, just for anybody that's the owner of Criterion watching right now, I would love all of the Guest mockumentaries in 4K in a box set from Criterion. Come on.
Yeah, and by the way, to Kubrick lover, because it's one louder, this one goes to 11. Yeah.
We knew this one was coming, but we finally got release details for Flow coming to 4K, Blu-ray, and DVD from Criterion on September 23rd.
Let's see if Levon's around.
You got it. This is, Oscar-winning film from just last year that a lot of people have loved. It's an animated film about a cat. And this one is going to have a director-approved 4K digital transfer with 7.1 surround. We also got a 4K digital master of the director's film from 2019 called Away. Look at that. Anthony got his wish tonight.
Anthony's probably tuned out, but this is a massive fucking cat. And he's probably I'm probably going to have claw marks on my face by tomorrow because of this. But what do you think? Is this No, he sucks. He's a terrible podcaster.
Two paws up. We got the debut feature from the director as well. That is Away from 2019. We've got a 4K disc of Flow and Away, both on the 4K disc, and then 2 Blu-rays with the films and a bunch of special features. New audio commentary with the director, full feature-length animatic, new interviews with the director and the co-producer, making of documentary called Dream Cat that was produced for Latvian television. Oh, look at that. Anthony is here, and he says hi.
Hey, Anthony. Levon was a little messy, so I'm still listening. Flow's great, though.
We've got some short films from 2012 and 2014 by the director with brand new commentaries. An unused shot reel with new commentary by the director. An essay, again, all that stuff to say, this is an absolutely loaded disc. And what's crazy is people were wondering, should I buy the Curzon or should I wait for the Criterion? Because we knew this was coming. And now what hurts is if you love this movie, they both have special features that the other one doesn't have. And so for those that truly adored this movie, you may want to pick up both. I'm not saying you should, not saying you gotta, but for Criterion, this is a surprisingly stacked release. They have been, Aaron and I have both been critical of Criterion of last year for being kind of skimpy on things. And for this, and this is Spinal Tap, they went there on a re-release.
This is a huge month. So you said for those, do you not like the Flow?
I did not love Flow. I thought it was decent. I just can't get into the animation style. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
It felt like
It's
a video
indie.
game cutscene.
Yeah, no, I see that. So this actually, this is one of my wife's favorite films. It's actually she put this on her Letterboxd top 4. So
Wow.
it's lovely when those I loved it too. I mean, it's not the best maybe quality, but the thing is, I do love the director. I love his passion. I'm glad that this was rewarded at the Oscars. They don't always get it right, in my opinion, or we don't often agree. But yeah, no, we might even get the Curzon too for that very reason. I think there's another film on here. I don't know if it's a short film.
No, well, you got features. You got a feature length that's on the 4K disc as well, and shorts. So there's a lot here.
I have shorts on right now too, but anyway.
Me too.
No, I'm really excited about this. I think this is gonna be a fun release, and it's stacked too. We probably don't have time to get into everything, but look at that cat. So
amazing,
good timing. Yeah.
Speaking of the Oscars from last year,
Flo beat Amelia Perez. Remember? So
for best animated feature.
Well, for something, I forget what it was.
Probably.
Yeah.
So September 23rd, we are also getting a Blu-ray of The Beat That My Heart Skipped from 2005, the Jacques Audiard film. This one is going to have a new interview with Audiard. We've got some interviews with the co-screenwriter and composer, press conference from 2005, deleted scenes with commentary, and then an essay by Jonathan Romney. I don't think I've ever seen a Jacques Audiard film, but I know that I think you said you love both of these, right?
Yeah. So, so in case you're not aware, he made this film last year. Some people don't like it.
A few.
So I remember when Amelia Perez screened, and I was really looking forward to it because I think Audiard is a fantastic filmmaker. I think he's one of the best modern French filmmakers. Now, I watched Amelia Perez, like a lot of you. I hated Amelia Perez with a passion. I think I gave it 1 star. I mean, that's a different story. I'm just glad the Criterion didn't put that out because, frankly, the backlash. You could put out Spinal Tap, Flow. The backlash might have ended them, so they might have been canceled for putting out Amelia Perez. This is a really good movie. So the next one is a great movie. This is really good, though. I would recommend if you like French thrillers, that sort of thing. This is really good. We saw it again with my wife at a film festival, and really enjoyed it. Good film. Worthy of Criterion.
Stephen. Oh, that's pretty funny. I do want to point out, Paul is saying this a couple times. I truly hate the art on this cover and the next one. The typography makes this so bad. This is definitely the Walking Dead, don't dead, open inside type of typography that is just bad. We don't need it like that. Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I kind of like the frames there, the kind of puzzle, the jigsaw, or not the jigsaw, but whatever they call that kind of puzzle. I think it works here. So this is a better, and this is a really great film. And in fact, there's I think this has been Mitzela and Emmanuel Devos, and
yes.
And this is if you haven't seen Emmanuel Devos from this period, there's another movie by Desplechin called Kings and Queen, which I think is a masterpiece. And I don't even know if it's out on Blu-ray or not, but I think that's Devos's better performance. She kind of fell off a cliff after this. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. She was in a couple. I think she was in A Christmas Tale, also Displetion. This is a really good movie, and I think this will surprise some people. So I would recommend this. If you don't like Amelia Perez, don't worry. This is nothing like Amelia Perez at all, in the slightest. This is really, really good.
This one is Read My Lips from 2001. This one is getting a 4K release and a Blu-ray release. So
sorry, I already gave my spiel before you.
You're good. The other one, they must not have been able to do a 4K. So this one is a brand new 4K digital restoration, supervised and approved by Odiard. You got a new Afterword by Odiard, audio commentary with Cassell and Emmanuel Devos. You got a program debut, the making of the film with interviews, and then an essay by Jeanette Vincent Doe.
Oh, right. Yeah. Vincent Doe, she's a great essayist. She also has done some work on Melville and others. Yeah. So this is, I get why they did the 4K. You got me, whoever that was. You got me.
That was Reggie.
I try to time those two. I want to get the guest, want to get him to laugh, him or her. Yeah, great stuff. Oh, we're done with Criterion, are we?
Yes and no. I didn't repost all the Anderson stuff, but I wanted your take on it because that's the big thing is we're getting standalone releases of a couple Wes Anderson flicks that are coming in this box set, but also the whole box set is technically in this month now. So you've got the Wes Anderson archive and then Isle of Dogs and the French Dispatch, both getting 4K releases from Criterion. Wes Anderson, how do you feel about him? What do you think about the box set?
I love him. I love Wes Anderson. I've seen a lot of interesting conversations in the wake of that announcement, and also with the new film, which some people really, really love, and I haven't seen yet, so I can't comment the Phoenician Scheme. But I do. The criticism of Anderson is he just doesn't change his style, and I kind of felt that way until I saw Grand Budapest Hotel. I think SNL actually really nailed Wes Anderson with the Midnight Coterie of Sinister Intruders, which should be on that fucking box set. I'm sorry. How many fucks is that? We shouldn't count anymore.
I got a tally running.
I think that's if you love Wes Anderson, that's a must buy. I do like that the other two films. I think it's very cool that they released those standalone.
Yeah, so for sure.
It's an expensive box. If you already own 8 of those films, they're probably going to be. I would imagine they would upgrade to the ones that haven't been standalone released in 4K. But no, I think I will say that we are going to do something about Wes Anderson on our website. We're going to do So and we have somebody lined up to do that, but it's not announced yet. So just probably the next month or so we can announce. We have a lot of stuff going on the website, but and I'll buy it probably for that thing, but I don't know if I would buy it otherwise. I'm no longer a completionist with Criterion and I don't think you have to be anymore, because I don't think they're really appealing to that collector mentality. They're releasing like 8 movies a month sometimes, and it's a lot to keep up with. Even watching, that's a lot to keep up with. And I think it's going to be a beautiful set. Probably one of their prize sets. Personally, I would have liked Ozu. I could list like 50 filmmakers I would have preferred, but hopefully they'll get them. I do realize that the guy that produces or distributes both Wes Anderson films bought Criterion, so that probably that with that handshake, it's like, okay, we'll get a box set, right? So of course this is going to happen.
So big month from Criterion. You got the box set. And I don't remember if we talked about it the week that they announced that box set, but the big thing to say, it is huge for Criterion to put out a 10 film 4K box set when they were late to the 4K game. And granted, 4K box sets aren't necessarily unheard of. The biggest thing to point to, Sony has done some that are great. Their Sony Pictures Classics box set was 10 films, so this is not unheard of. But for a boutique to do 10 4K films that are all stylized like this in this beautiful package, that
it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
It's a big deal. I'm kind of known for slandering Criterion quite a bit because they've been on my shit list for a couple years, but I really have to say that's a big move. And honestly,
it's gonna be good. Yeah.
that's what people have come to expect from Criterion over the last 45 years or whatever. So it's not necessarily surprising, but after the last 8 years, it is sort of surprising. So kudos to Criterion.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great. I mean, Criterion this month or Imprints month, which is better? I think Criterion's, and I don't think it's close, but they're both great months.
Uh,
Yeah,
I'd
okay.
say imprints, but okay.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You have your
Next,
opinions. Go up, blow smoke.
we've talked about these because Imprint is also putting these out, so we probably won't spend a ton of time. But September 26th, Blu-ray of coming of Smoke from 1995 to Kino
Good film.
Lorber. Yeah, this is a movie that pretty much everybody loves. We've got some extras on here. We got an interview with the director Wayne Wang, moderated by Kate McKay. We got an interview with the writer Paul Oster, behind the scenes featurette, and then a Berlin Film Festival press conference. And if that's not enough to keep you excited, of course, they also going to put out Blue in the Face, which is essentially a sequel to this. Great cast in both movies. Lots of stuff. You got an interview with Wayne Wang on this one as well, and then interview with Paula Oster and all that other stuff. But if you're just wanting to save some money and you want to shelve
next slide, please.
some shelf space, you could just buy them both. And honestly, kudos to Kino here, because both titles you could get for like $17, but if you buy them both in this release, you can get it on Atomic Movie Store right now for, I think it's $24, and that is pretty damn great. So if you're wanting both of these, double feature on this, and the fact that you can only pick one or the other if you love one and not the other one, that's pretty damn great. So how do you feel about these films there, Aaron?
Well, I haven't seen the sequel, so now they look like different films. Just looking at the covers,
Yes.
Smoke is great. I'm sure I'd love this. Yeah, good stuff. Probably a Kino sale. I mean, the double feature. I kind of wish that there would be more double features. The studios used to do that, and yeah, they were bare bones usually. But if you just want to watch the movies and then have them in your collection for whenever, rainy day, yeah, more double features go Kino or whatever label. And by the way, I saw Sibner had a comment about loyalty on a label. I agree. Yeah, just buy what you want. There's some, as we've already talked about, there's so much. We only have so much money. There's tariffs.
Yeah, that is true. More Kino. We are getting that does not have the release date, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit and go figure that out. I believe it's also coming on August 19th, but the underground films of Beth B and Scott B are coming in a bit of a set from Kino, and this is really nice. You got multiple discs in here, tons of stuff from the 70s and 80s. Films that a lot of people have been wanting for a long time, and I'm so glad that they are putting this out in a way that people can appreciate. Films that deserve more attention. And Kino, when you're putting out 250 titles in a year, you better be able to do some stuff like this that most people have not heard of, because otherwise you're just putting out a lot of the same stuff. So this is pretty damn exciting.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen this, but I kind of love that scene, and I love that they're putting out like cult films. And when I say cult, like I guess and underground films. It's right, they're on the cover. So yeah, I look forward to it. This is again probably one I'll get on a sale or.
The release date on this one, by the way, is August 26th, the week later, August 26th.
Gotcha. Cool.
Then the same day, August 26th, Kino Cult number 35, they are putting out Frankenstein's Bloody Terror from 1968. But the cool thing, this is a full 3D release of this movie. The big thing is this is going to be meticulously restored by the 3D Film Archive, which means it's going to look frickin' incredible. It's also going to be presented with both the stereoscopic 3D, where you put it in a 3D player and you use the specific monitor or glasses that they have, and then the anaglyph version, where you can use the red and blue or red and green glasses, and they are providing a set of glasses with this release. For the people that love you some Paul Naschy, this is the one to get.
So you don't need a 3D player, because I don't know if anybody has one anymore.
Tons of people still do.
Okay. The Flickr Alley releases were the 3D rarities. That's why I did that. They're great. I have Levon here. Thanks, Levon. He did a number on me. I should have pissed myself. That would have been easier. This looks fun. I mean, Chillerama. And I think it's a good idea to keep 3D movies, because they're a big part of film history, especially mainstream. And I think 3D has been out of style just I think it just was oversaturated, theatrically and otherwise. Yeah, I always thought it was weird that 3D players kind of just vanished, or the discs vanished. So, but yeah, that's a lot of fun. Body Terror or Bloody Terror, because that's
Frankenstein's Bloody Terror,
Frankenstein is a bloody terrorist.
especially when you're Paul Naschy.
That's right.
Third Window Films over in the UK on August 25th. They're releasing Takashi Ishii's Four Tales of Nami from 1992 to 1994. Collection of 4 films presented in a limited edition digipack with a booklet by Jasper Sharp, who does some great work. Thanks, Jasper. We got Alone in the Night, Angel Guts, Red Flash, A Night in Nude, and Original Sin. You've got some archival extras and some new extras, including an audio commentary by Miss Sam Deegan, another audio commentary by Jasper Sharp, one by Frankie Balboa, and then a bunch of archival interviews coming on this stuff. Third Window, I praise them often, but enough people still do not give them the attention they deserve. Some great Japanese films that they've released over the years, all ran by one individual, pretty much doing every single aspect of what this label puts out, which is still crazy to me. And on top of that, he is like going to film festivals and promoting these to get as much eyes on them as he possibly can. Adam is a saint. Check out Third Window Films. Have you seen any of these, Aaron?
I haven't seen this, no, but again, I don't always buy discs for the people that are working on them, but a lot of the names you mentioned are people I just really dig. So, yeah, this is the thing. You're not going to get this probably streaming, especially not the extras.
No.
So, yeah, no, this looks like a great release.
Okay, Jess Franco. Let's talk about the cover art on this one, first of all. August 26th, Blu-ray in the US from the next Delirium magazine home video line. This is Doriana Gray from 1976. Now, this is a film that's got a Blu-ray release over in Germany before. It is one that a lot of people in the US imported, because this is one of like the really, really revered Jess Franco films, so people have wanted this. There's not a ton coming on this disc, unfortunately. There's got a commentary by Troy Howarth that I think is new. There's
cool.
some old interviews on here. But the art on this, a lot of people yelled AI the moment it went up. And I get it, because if you look at that hand, holy shit.
Yeah? Huh.
From what I can tell, I believe this is just a blown up version of the original poster, and it just never had great detail. And it probably should not have been used as the cover art. I need to check that out, but this is going to make a lot of people happy. I really hope this does well, and we can do more.
I have it on good authority that some of the other parts are anatomically correct. That's all I'll say.
Hopefully the hand's correct in the movie, at least.
Yeah, hopefully real hands. Yeah, that does look. I mean, I've accidentally accused a cover or assumed a cover. That's really a great illustration is AI, especially if it's an old poster from the original movie. That hand does look like, I don't know, makes me wonder, but yeah, the rest looks okay,
But more Franco is good Franco. There's so many people that are super into this, and there's really only a couple other titles that I am very excited to see people get from Franco. So hopefully either Delirium or somebody that's going to put a little more love into them soon will be coming out with some Franco. I know of at least one that's coming from another label that I'm very excited for people to see. But yeah, this is cool. This is cool. I'm glad it's getting
around. Yeah, and we're talking about Sean, huge Franco fan. Almost, I think he's actually made Franco popular again, which is a great thing. And this is probably not for me. Like, I'm not going to buy it, but Elbows 220. Yeah, it is. I mean, I could see how an artist might do that, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen this, but yeah, more Franco will come up at some point, I think.
All right, next up on our list, Casper from 1995. Good Lord, 30th anniversary.
Does this one have AI boobs?
I don't think so. I'll ask Miss Ricci next time I see her. But coming on August 12th, we get a 4K Steelbook and standard release coming from Universal of Casper. No new extras. However, they do have the 7 original Casper the Friendly Ghost theatrical shorts, which are great. You got deleted scenes. We got a commentary with the director. Aaron, how do you feel about Casper?
I mean, Casper's one of the movies I saw as a kid, and I thought I was too cool for Casper. So I don't know if that's changed. I haven't tried, but I don't know. Is it good?
Casper is great, and the biggest thing, it's got
Okay.
amazing effects in this movie.
I do like Ricci from this period. I think she's always been a pretty good actress, but had a really good run, throughout the '90s and early aughts. But yeah, no, I haven't seen myself in the market for Casper. This might be one I look for like a groove sale or something. There's 4 for 11 or something. Not 4 for 11, but 4 for 44 or whatever they do.
4 for 11 would be
That would
amazing.
be yeah, I'd buy a lot that way. Please do that, groove.
Next up, Straight Outta Compton getting a 4K Steelbook re-release. This is the 10-year anniversary of Straight Outta Compton.
Wow.
Nothing new here, just the same disc in another Steelbook. Did you see this one when it came out?
Yeah, I thought this was great. This is one like I didn't feel had any business being great because frankly, a rap biopic. I love black film, and I love NWA. But yeah, you just wouldn't expect it to be as good as it was, and it was great. Yeah. So again, not a steelbook is not the factor for me to buy this. Just
Right.
it being 4K. Again, the 4 for 11 groove sale, I will probably grab Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, I love this movie. Really great biopic. Fantastic acting in this movie.
Yeah. Surprisingly great acting. Another one for the groove sale here. Conjure. I don't know. You like The Conjuring? Oh, go ahead.
I think The Conjuring is a modern masterpiece.
Yeah.
We got The Conjuring 4K Steelbook coming in the US here soon. I believe this is also an August release. I believe this one is not dated yet. Yeah, there's a placeholder date on Amazon, so we'll figure out the exact date eventually. But the weird thing is, I put a little note in here, and I don't think many people read it, but I said it looks like this is a placeholder art because we get a placeholder date. It's literally just a black steelbook on the outside, and I highly doubt they are going to be just doing the title on the front.
Well, it's scary, it's dark, yeah, no, well, actually, with A24, I'm writing a lot about horror, early horror, late horror, lots of horror filmmakers, and a lot of them drew inspiration from modern film too. They're kind of it's a movement. They're inspiring each other, and a lot of them shout out The Conjuring and the sequels. Yeah, I don't know if I'd go as far as modern masterpiece, but I think it's a great film. I have a little trouble with like the real life stories because I don't. Yeah, I think they stretch the truth. I think the actual real people stretch the truth, and I think they stretch it further. I mean, obviously, it's not a documentary, but they're a lot of fun. Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be a black box either. Yeah, when the real art comes up, I do like that inside the cover art. I mean, I can't really see it, but it kind of has the feel of the film. I think. Yeah,
it's
maybe that'll be the outside art.
It's a great movie. I love The Conjuring. Yeah, and again, they're capitalizing. They got another one coming out, so of course they were going to do something special.
Of course, yeah, and of course they have another one coming out, and another one, and
well, the next one is The Last Time with Patrick and Vera Farmiga. So,
oh, yeah, okay, huh.
Next on the 4K studio catalog train, we've got Meet the Parents from 2000 to 25 years on this. Jesus Christ, coming to 4K on August 12th. No new extras on this, but a comedy that a lot of people grew up with. How do you feel about Meet the Parents, Fokker?
Fokker. Well, that's our first Fokker of the night. I think again, great comedy. I'd say actually modern classic comedy. Silly, but that's Stiller's deal. And very quotable. The nipples thing. That scene right there on the cover. I mean, I think the art is. I don't know if that's an illustration, but yeah, Mother Fokker. English, do you speak it, Fokker?
Love the photoshopped heads on these bodies.
Okay, I don't know. That might be AI or maybe Photoshop. I don't. Does anybody Photoshop covers anymore? I don't know. Yeah, fun movie, great.
Another modern classic comedy. Happy Gilmore coming to 4K from Kino on August 19th. This one we get a new commentary by Brian Connolly and the Billy Gilmore podcast host Wilson Smith. The Blu-ray disc will also have a bunch of archival features like outtakes, deleted scenes, and all that. How do you feel about Happy Gilmore?
Oh, it's again a classic. I think Sandler had that really great comedy 3-film run, and this was right. I think in the middle. Yeah. It's especially there's not a lot of great golf movies, which is weird because golf is a pretty interesting, narratively interesting sport. But No, of course, and again, lots of quotable comedies tonight. You know, The Price is Wrong, bitch. Yeah, no, this is a great one. So there are a lot of great 4Ks this week, and this is Kino. So again, probably a sale someday.
Should point out, because we've talked about this before, but this is a 4K release coming from a 6K scan.
Wow.
This is going to look incredible, probably.
I don't know. I'm just waiting for the 50K and then just inject it to my brain. But no.
August 11th.
Great.
Over in the UK, we are getting Icon Film Distribution putting out Inside from 2024, starring Guy Pearce, a film I had not heard about, but the trailer for this looks pretty decent.
I guess, okay, so it's not like Bo Burnham's Inside, very different. And I do like Bagger Vance. I think that was overhated, I'll say. Yeah, no, this looks good. This is mine. I'm not going to blind buy it, but yeah, might watch it if it's on streaming somewhere.
Same day, August 11th, we'll get a Blu-ray in the UK from Fabulous Films for Jim Henson's The Storyteller, the complete collection. Now, we talked about this, oh gosh, probably about 6 or 8 weeks ago, because it's getting a release in Australia as well, which normally when that happens, you can kind of surmise, you know, it got announced in the Australian release territory, got announced in the UK release territory. It's probably going to get announced in the US release territory. And based on the fact that it's a Henson project, Shout will probably be announcing this in the next 3 or 4 months. Now, is that meaning that one of them is going to be better than the other? Not necessarily. They could all be the exact same discs. Just a heads up before you might want to overpay for one of them, because I know for me, I got to have at least one copy of this because I love Henson. So,
all right, if you know a secret, you're a bad liar right now. But
no, I don't know.
You probably don't know a secret because you wouldn't have said all that if you didn't.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. This has Shout written all over it. But yeah, if you like it, buy it. Like I said. Yeah,
well, I say that because they put out Labyrinth, and they've done, I think, streaming either for this, but like a ton of the Henson stuff. But I mean, it's also, they did Dark Crystal, they did Labyrinth. It just falls right in line.
I haven't seen this either, so I don't know if it's good or not.
I haven't seen it in ages, but I remember liking them. Speaking of A24, this is an A24 film. July 14th over in the UK. Entertainment and Video is one-upping A24 on their own film and putting out a 4K of Death of a Unicorn, which got really awful reviews. So I'm very curious to hear what you thought about this one.
I saw it in theaters, and I would say it's okay. I would say it's like, I think I gave it like a 7 and then bumped it down to a 6. Will Poulter is really funny in this. It's kind of one of those typical eat the rich movies right now.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting concept. I think it's okay execution. I think this is Richard E. Grant's great too. He's always great. I think this is something that people could watch. What I think is interesting though is that as you put it, A24 has already announced the Blu-ray, and the way it works is you get the digital copy. So I've never tried to cancel an A24, but they didn't put, they put Warfare in 4K, which makes sense, of course. I don't know if I would have bought this in 4K, so I probably won't. I mean, I've obviously pre-ordered this, and I will enjoy the rewatch. I don't think it's as hated as Opus is really bad. Like if Opus came out on Blu-ray, I probably wouldn't want. I don't want to even think about that movie again. It was bad.
Blu-ray in Canada, just not from A24 yet.
Yeah. I don't think it'll get one from A24. I mean, I don't know anything, but yeah, no, I think this is a fine movie. I wouldn't. Yeah, not worth the 4K for me. But
so. Before we go on to the next thing, because I think this is the last A24 related announcement tonight. I am curious because I know that you don't have like an in sitting and giving you all the answers at A24 necessarily, because we've talked about this before. But do you have any insights? What some of these films that are like pretty loved that don't get any physical release in the US? Like the big one right now for people to put out is Problemista. Didn't get any sort of release here.
So really in the last like 3-4 months, they've really been leveling up their physical media. In fact, I would say that they're a physical media boutique label right now of their own films. So I don't know, I don't have an in, and they probably wouldn't tell me if I did. I mean, I have talked to A24, and I have some. I can't really discuss those discussions, but I know that the A24 legal team is aware of my book. That's all I care about. So
they're taking notes tonight.
They're taking notes, yeah. So love the A24 legal team. Rock on, y'all. Um, yeah, probably. Well, the thing is, they have the streaming deal with Max, so
Yep.
probably, I believe, is on Max still, and some of the other 2024 films. Problem Still was a really good film that I think that it didn't really find its audience, and that's one thing with A24 that I think the criticism is fair, is that they kind of give up on films too early.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't market films well. Sing Sing is brought up frequently, which is a great film, I think. But yeah, I don't know. They're putting more new films out. I think they always, or for the most part, produce the films. I can't remember if they produced Problemista. I'd have to check my notes. I do have my book open.
Problemista got a release in Australia, which makes it even weirder.
Parthenope, well, first off, Parthenope was U.S. distribution. It's a Italian film. They don't do a lot of foreign films, so I think that was I think they were trying to dip their toes in the water. I don't think they knew how, it was kind of a lukewarm reception. So I'm not surprised. It just started streaming on Max if you want to watch it,
Yeah.
and it's okay, but you can tell that Sorrentino fell in love with his lead actress. I actually have an in with somebody that knows Sorrentino, so that's all I can say. But yeah. No, he liked him some Parthenope, but I agree, Ronnie. Problemista is, I would buy that in a second too. That's a great film.
The other one I've had a lot of, like, I've seen a ramp up in people like DMing me and asking me if I know if something's coming is, oh God, and I just blanked on the title. Is it The Back Room? The one with Brandy? I don't remember what the title was.
Oh, The Front Room.
The Front Room. Okay.
Backrooms is the other one that's coming.
That's the YouTube one, yeah.
The YouTube, yeah. So I don't know what to. I mean, they're going in a direction. Julio Torres is hilarious. I love him. My favorite shapes. Like, I would not have watched My Favorite Shapes if not for this book. So that alone was almost worth it. He's got a great future. He did the Papyrus SNL sketch. He's responsible for that. So the Avatar font. Yeah, no, great stuff. The Front Room is it's not a good movie. So that's also on Max. I think it's going to stay there. I would say, I think it's Tuesday or Thursday or Tuesday. It's one day of the week. Movie with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I would like to see
Tuesday,
that.
yeah.
Tuesday, yeah. Thanks. I would like to see that come out. The Front Room was just a disappointment, like critically and box office. So
I don't know. I feel maybe I'm just jaded to it because what I do for everybody here, but I feel like it would still sell very well. Especially, I mean, Brandy has a built-in fan base, horror has a built-in fan base, but the biggest thing, A24 has one of the most loyal fan bases out there. That it's like
really
literally
do.
a parody unto itself sometimes.
But they also realize, and I'm very much tapped into the fan base, like extremely. But they very much do accept that not every A24 is a good movie. And in fact, that one was pretty hated on. So I don't know that there's a lot of love. In fact, I think, no offense to anybody involved with the production, Brandy, yes, she has a fan base, but so does The Weeknd, and Hurry Up Tomorrow is from
I've heard that's got
what
amazing reviews.
I don't think it's much better, the reviews, than The Front Room. The Front Room was
it's quite worse, actually.
Big disappointment. But I thought it was the thing is, Catherine Hunter, she's in it, and she's always great, and she's great in this film, but I don't think the film really measures up. So yeah, but you can watch it on Max.
We spent a lot of time on this that I did not expect. I'm sorry.
Sorry, yeah. I'm writing a book, so what can I say?
There is a delay on the Umbrella release of Daybreakers, and this is sort of, speaking of parodies unto itself, this release has been delayed from Umbrella like 3 times now. So now it is now coming out August 6th, hopefully, fingers crossed. What's going on, Tony? Welcome.
Hey, Tony. Good to see you.
Yeah, I am stoked on this, but for those that have not seen it yet, if you go over to the Lionsgate Limited site right now, they are promoting an upcoming 4K Steelbook release of Daybreakers. So this will be released on 4K in the States as well, and that's being teased right next to a 4K Steelbook of Jacob's Ladder, which I love that movie.
Haven't seen this. Oh yeah, Jacob's Ladder. I love that movie. Yeah,
I love this movie too. Ethan Hawke is great in this.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Speaking of movies I hate, July 8th, 4K Steelbook coming of In a Violent Nature from last year. Aaron, how do you feel about Jason Walks?
I actually purposely haven't watched this. I'll have to watch this because, it's a modern. I guess you'd say elevated, kind of slow burn. I don't know if I'd say art. I know a lot of people hate this, but some people really, really love it. So I haven't seen it. This won't be the reason for me to watch it. I think it's streaming in a couple places currently, and like we've talked about, it, still books are not a big deal to me. But yeah, people will buy it. I know there are fans.
Too many. Going to the next one, July 29th, Disney putting out a 4K Steelbook, surprisingly, a standard 4K, a Walmart exclusive Blu-ray pop-up release, and that is this one.
I still have a leave on Blu-ray. My face.
DVD release, all of Thunderbolts with an asterisk, aka the New Avengers, the newest MCU film. This is going to have deleted scenes, 2 of them, talk about putting the crew together around the world and back again, discovering the eclectic locations. Get a director's audio commentary, gag reel, all about the 3 different side characters. Did you go and see Thunderbolts, Aaron?
I did, and long story, but I walked out in the middle, but not because it was a bad movie. It was because it was a bad theater, and I had bad seats, and I had Regal Unlimited, and I was like, you know what? I've seen enough. It'll be on Disney Plus. I'll catch the rest. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was really digging it. So yeah, I left about the time that they're like driving a station wagon through the desert. So if you know that time, I do think that this was a nice. So I like Marvel. I usually try to watch all the Marvel movies, not all the TV shows, but I've kind of become a little tired of Marvel. I think a lot of people are a little tired of Marvel. So I didn't watch Madam Web, so I can't really speak, but I haven't heard good things. I hated the Captain America. I mean, I just didn't get it. I think did you have to watch the TV show for that? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I was lost. I was like, who the fuck are these people? But this was a lot of fun, and I thought I like kind of like the James Gunn type of comedy humor. I am really looking forward to his Superman. Not that that's Marvel, but yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I might even pick up the 4K.
I just realized you probably did have to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier before Captain America.
That explains a lot. So
forgot about that one. I definitely saw this in theaters, and I thought it was probably the best of the current stage of the MCU. That's not saying much because it still wasn't like a mind-blowing movie. It was just more of like this was like a return to lower B tier status for Marvel rather than like upper D tier, and that's helpful.
That's why I walked out, just because I was having a good time, but I didn't think that the theatrical experience was that elevated. So I didn't think it needed. I still have a leave on hair on my face. So sorry about that, everybody. I'm not picking anything. I held my cat for like 10 seconds. That was ruined my night.
You know what movie I did see in theaters that loved, and that's the next one. September 11th, we get
I want to see
4K
this.
and Blu-ray media book over in Germany from Cape Light of The Ugly Stepsister from this year. Now, that being said, don't necessarily rush out to get this. Just wanted to point this out there because it is such a great movie. There will absolutely be a U.S. release of this. Not sure. It could come from, at this point, Shudder's got deals with OCN, Severin, Arrow, and RLJE. Any of them could do it. Somebody will release it. But this movie, in my opinion, is a masterpiece. I think I currently have this at like number 2 or 3 on my list of the year stuff. So this movie I loved, and I'm so glad that it's getting like a nice bells and whistles sort of release from them. So stoked on that.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to it. I kind of this feels like the kind of modern film, and I don't know if they ever release through Second Sight, but I would love. That's where I would blind buy it if it were like a Second Sight release.
And that wouldn't be surprising necessarily because they did The Coffee Table, and I could see a lot of similarities there.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet, but that's another recent blind buy. So yeah, no, I can't wait. Yeah, in fact, I might wait just in case that happens because I love Second Sight.
I would love to see Second Sight do it. They would absolutely crush some really great special featers on this.
Oh, well, certainly. Yeah, they always do.
Incredible art on the cover of this.
Yeah.
September 16th, Blu-ray coming from Altered Innocence of So Unreal from 2023. Sib is saying, are they even doing English subs on this one? Yes.
That's a great question. Yeah.
It is there. That's the only reason I posted it, because I really only share English language friendly films. So yes, The Ugly Stepsister will have English subs on there. So Unreal from 2023 from Altered Innocence. Amanda Kramer, So Unreal is a cinephile's visual essay examining a canon of films that dare dream beyond the threshold of the real. Across the 30-year span, 81 to 2001, which I don't know that that's 30 years, but okay. Depictions of future shock technologies such as artificial intelligence, cyberspace, and virtual reality grew in both frequency and complexity. Cinema in these years provided an outlet for humanity's intertwined anxieties, fears, and fantasies about the brave new frontiers looming ahead. Sounds very interesting. We got an audio commentary with the writer, producer, director Amanda Kramer. This is all narrated by the one and only Debbie Harry. We got a conversation with Debbie Harry as well. Feature-length doc called Silk, behind the scenes portrait of the 100% Silk, the record label behind much of the music and So Unreal. A booklet with an essay on the film by executive producer Brian Miller. Soundtrack listing. This sounds like a really fun release from Alternative.
Yeah, no, I don't know much about this. I agree that the color or the font looks like a retro, in the coolest way, retro release. This looks like it could have come out in the 80s. Really, I mean, it's kind of like Tron meets Duran Duran. It looks like a lot of fun. I'll have to watch this. I don't know if I'll pick up the Blu-ray, but this looks great.
Not sure if this is going to get a steelbook limited at Diabolic DVD, like sometimes Altered Innocence does. Lately, Altered has been like their titles go up online, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, Diabolic's like, by the way, we have a limited slipcover. So if you want this one, I feel like this is begging for a really colorful slipcover.
Oh, I bet.
I bet they have one coming. So if you are after it, I would wait and just be checking Diabolic. I'll probably be posting it if it does get announced. So.
Yep, awesome. Thanks.
Moving
for all
right
you
along,
do, Ryan.
Anchor Bay, we haven't heard from in a while. They've got a couple coming out. October 14th, a Blu-ray of Candy Apple from 2015. This says, using the director's biological father and true stories strung together in a fictional narrative, this follows Texas Trash as he struggles to get sober with his son, Bobby, who's attempting to launch a career in filmmaking. All coming on October 14th. And then if that's not enough for you from them, they're also doing Dead Man's Barstool from 2018. This is also coming on October 14th on Blu-ray from Anchor Bay. This says, Mary is the conniving wife of a well-known televangelist who goes by the moniker John the Preacher. Facing divorce with meager financial settlement, she partners with his mistress, Ginny, to rob JP of his cash fortune and split the loot. When they discover him dead from a gunshot wound to the head, their scheme starts to unravel piece by piece. Through a clever cover-up, his murder was ruled a suicide by the NYPD, but a crooked cop has other plans. This sounds quite complex and potentially Coen Brothers-esque if they do it that way.
Reading, yeah.
Yeah, curious to check this one out. I've not had a lot of faith in the new incarnation, we'll say, of Anchor Bay, but this one sounds fun. Has anybody seen this? I'd love to hear thoughts in chat if you have.
Yeah, same. And I know Tony's in the chat. I know John was working on the documentary about them, right? So I don't.
Yeah.
Curious about an update on that too. But no opinion on those last two. But yeah, curious.
This is one a lot of people probably have an opinion on. July 8th, we are finally getting a Blu-ray in the U.S. from Magnolia of Man on Wire from 2008, the documentary. This is also going to have the animated short film, The Man Who Walked Between the Towers. Somehow, this has never had a Blu-ray release in the States. This is the first time. This one has gotten a Blu-ray release over in Germany or the UK, I think, and it's just finally getting released in the States, so people will be able to get an HD release of this. Have you seen this doc, Aaron?
Yeah, no, it's a great doc. I think it won the Oscar, although as said earlier, that doesn't mean the best, especially with documentaries. It's really hard.
I think it won the Oscar.
Philip
I'm
Petit,
not sure.
I think is his name. That dude, on the wire, the man that title refers to.
Yep,
that's the dude. Yeah, and pretty amazing human being. They made like a biopic about him that I thought was not as good. I forget the name. A few years later, I think the documentary is probably the story to watch. Apologies to people who liked that version, but it's a good documentary.
I'm so dumb. You said I couldn't think of what it was called, and I immediately, I don't know how my brain thinks of stupid puns, but I said in my mind, is it called Petite My Man? I don't know. That's a really dumb art house joke.
That's a very obscure one. I mean, I love it. There's a secret I could tell that announcement I could make, but that is related to that. But I'll keep that one under wraps for now. I don't even think I've told you that yet. So yeah,
we'll wait till we're off the air, but we'll definitely be discussing that one. Going to our next title. Let's talk about Eureka announcements from this morning, which, in
Yeah.
my opinion, was incredible. September 15th, Blu ray box set in the UK as part of the Masters of Cinema set. Rack and Rubin, the Rubble films at DIFA from 1945 to 1948. This is a box set of films called The Murderers Are Among Us, Somewhere in Berlin, Police Raid, Marriage in the Shadows, and The Blum Affair. This says the first film studio to begin operating in post-war Germany, DIFA, was officially authorized to begin making films in the Soviet occupation zone in 1946. Overseen by the Soviet military administration, one of its primary mandates was to aid in the denazification of Germany by focusing on anti-fascist themes in films that would ruminate on the literal and figurative wreckage left behind by the Third Reich. Often shot on location in the ruins of Berlin, these early DIFA productions have come to be called Trümmerfilm or Rubble films, and remain some of the most important pictures the studio ever made. So this is going to be limited to 2,000 copies. You got new art on all this. You got a booklet with new writing on the film by Soviet and German film historians, I believe is what they said, or maybe they were DIFA film historians. We've got all 5 films in HD from 2K scans of the OCNs, new commentaries by a bunch of individuals that are really great experts on this field. New interviews, we've got new visual essays, we've got some archival documentaries, multiple archival newsreels.
Wow.
This is a magnificent looking box set. Cannot imagine.
I did not get to look at these. Man, I'll just say, and by the way, it's Masters of Cinema. I think that's worth pointing out as well. Man, Eureka, Masters of Cinema, I just love them so much. They keep on putting out real, I'm not going to throw shade at any other labels, but yeah, no, I agree, Manable. This looks like, frankly, like if you're going to put, German films around that time, now it's a controversial opinion statement that resistance or propaganda films, there were some good filmmakers in that point. Now, and they didn't have much choice, so they had to work under the system. I mean, Douglas Sirk was, he left, but he was one of those early propaganda. Helmut Krautner, I think I might have the name wrong. Put out some good ones. This like, even if these aren't the best films from Germany, this is like the way to put these out. Just with all these supplements, without all the historical context. Like, I wouldn't be probably too interested in watching these without that. I just keep it up, Masters of Cinema. Thumbs up.
I cannot say enough how much these just sound incredible. The only thing I will say, and I don't know anything, I don't know if Craig is still in the chat or not, because I haven't seen him comment in a long time, but Deaf Crocodile has already done the DIFA animated films.
Oh, right.
They've got that relationship. It is possible Deaf Crocodile's trying to get some of these. I feel like they could do great stuff with them as well, but to me, like, this looks pretty damn definitive at this point, as long as they get encoded properly and all that stuff.
Yeah, and Kubrick Glover pointed out in the chat, Germany Year Zero, another great Rubble film. Yeah, it is depressing, and that's the third in his war trilogy. And all Paisan's okay. It's another omnibus or type of film. Of course, Rome Open City, masterpiece. These films are worth exploring. Yeah, I think this is just awesome, and it's going to continue. So, yeah, this is one where, when can I buy it, and when can it get here? I don't know yet. So.
It's a great question. Next up from them is Chow Yun-fat and Alan Tang in Flaming Brothers, coming on September 15th in the UK, and then September 16th in North America from Eureka. So this is going to be a dual territory release. This is a standout Hong Kong crime thriller, and the big notable thing here, this was written by Wong Kar-wai, which will make a lot of people happy. This is released on Blu-ray for the first time in the UK ever from a 2K restoration. You've got so much on this. Eureka just killing their extras. You got a booklet on this with new writing by Camille Zorin. You've got optional English subs, of course. You've got English dubbed audio, the original Cantonese audio. New commentary by Mike Leader and Arna Venema. Archival interview with the director, Joe Chung. New video locations piece by Crazy for Kong. That's Arna Venema's production crew. I can't imagine that's not going to be great. It's like the year of Chow Yun-fat. He's gotten a lot of love in the last 12 months or so. Incredible. Love that we keep seeing these.
And I just clicked through, £17.99. Like, and again, not to throw shade at Imprint, because I do love Imprint. Great month. But, 20 something bucks, even though in the currency does not favor us here. But yeah, and Eureka is so great with like Asian film too, and martial arts or otherwise. Yeah, Eureka is just a great label.
On top of that, free shipping worldwide from Eureka. Don't sleep on that.
Yeah, I might just snatch all three of these up. So might as well move on to the next one.
And the last one, which is, again, continuing remarkable releases. September 22nd in the UK, September 23rd in North America, a Blu-ray box set from Eureka called Furious Swords and Fantastic Warriors, the Heroic Cinema of Chang Che. This covers from 1967 to 1983. This is the last of his films during his Shaw Brothers tenure. We've got in here, under the Furious Sword side, disc 1 and 2, Men from the Monastery and Shaolin Martial Arts, and then King Eagle and Iron Bodyguard. On the Fantastic Warrior side, we've got Fantastic Magic Baby and the Weird Man, which, by the way, I want to see a buddy cop film called the same thing, released next Thursday. Disc number 4, Trail of the Broken Blade and Wandering Swordsman. And then disc 5, Trilogy of Swordsmanship and New Shaolin Boxers. This, again, craziness. We got a collector's booklet with new writing by James Oliver, new commentaries by David West, Frank Jang with Michael Wirth. Frank Jang does one of them on his own. And then Mike Bleeder and Arna Venema are doing a couple of these as well. New interviews with Wayne Wong, new visual essay by Jonathan Clements, new visual essay by Jonathan Clements on another title as well. Just a magnificent looking release.
Yeah, and I'm scrolling through the website in another tab. Oh, there's one of your favorites, Trouble Every Day. I love Clear Today. I pre-ordered that without hesitation.
I'm sure everybody did. Congratulations.
I mean, I just can't say I haven't seen these. So, in fact, this is where, like, one thing about Sean as his cinephilia is really all over the place in the great. So we talk about Italian film. Loves some kung fu or martial arts films. I'm sure he's a fan of these. So if you're watching Sean, yeah, let's shout these out. More martial arts films, go Eureka or elsewhere, but Eureka is just putting out the great. So I actually prefer them all going to Eureka just because they're putting out material. I'm curious, how much is this price?
I didn't even look at that.
It's UK, US. $55. That's really not that bad. That's
for 10 films. Yeah,
really reasonable. Yeah.
Crazy.
Imagine what they would. So like a Shaw Brothers set would be like 10 films. Isn't that how many are on the Arrow?
No, less than that.
Okay. I have the first set, and like I was like, it's just not worth it to just keep buying these all my life. So no, this is well done, Eureka. What a month.
Yeah. Absolutely insane.
What a week of releases or announcements. Right? I know. Yeah.
If that's not enough, I know everybody's favorite. Let's finish with a bang with the Woody Allen film. We got some release details finally. Scoop from Kino Lorber coming on August 26th on Blu-ray. Now, the big thing here, no extras. Woody Allen films don't ever really get extras. He doesn't approve anything. But Kino, oddly enough, has said that this is a limited edition release that will have a very small licensing window. So if you're after this title on Blu-ray from Kino, you're probably either going to want to pre-order it or get it like right when it releases, because and I'm not really trying to induce FOMO or anything, but we don't know how long this is going to be available for sale. And so them announcing it now, August 26th, Scarlett Johansson, Hugh Jackman, Ian McShane. A lot of people love this. A lot of people also hate it. Classic Woody feeling on film primarily. How do you feel about Woody Allen, Aaron?
Oh, how do I feel about it? I just wanted to come on this show to talk about Woody Allen. Well, okay, the weird thing, again, writing about modern film, modern independent film, Woody Allen influenced everybody. So Greta Gerwig sung his praises until she didn't, but she still, I mean, all of them acknowledge the, Baumbach, really everybody. Woody was a major influential filmmaking figure. Now, everything else notwithstanding, I don't want to get into that. I'm sure nobody really does. They didn't tune in for us to debate Woody Allen. Sure? You should. Yeah, I don't know. We could just spend the next hour talking about Woody Allen. I haven't seen this one, so I can't really speak. But I do like his films. I mean, I think I don't even think that's really debatable. What his credibility or quality as a filmmaker. I'm a great filmmaker. Made some amazing films. Yeah, there's other stuff that I don't care for, and there's some people. I would say trigger warning. With anybody just even mentioning his name. But I probably won't pick this up. It's not just that important to me. But again, I might see it sometime.
On that note, let's go to our favorite little section of hey, we forgot this is coming out, so let's talk about what's coming out next week. Like I mentioned, Dark City 4K from Arrow is coming out, or in Aaron's case, already in his hands. One I'm very, very excited to see: Sorcerer 4K from Criterion. The
Wow.
worst looking steelbook in a long time. Lethal Weapon 4K. Shout putting out Bring It On 4K for everybody that's after that one. Road Trip 4K from Kino. High Society 4K, I think, is not shipping until early next month, so this is just not delayed on here yet. Mouse Hunt 4K from Kino, which I think is a masterpiece. Please check it out if you haven't. The Peacemaker 4K from Kino as well. Novocaine 4K, which I was pleasantly surprised. Novocaine was pretty fun. Splendor in the Grass from Warner Archive. The Monkey 4K coming from Neon. St. Elmo's Fire 4K from Sony Pictures. His Kind of Woman from Warner Archive. Longlegs 4K Steelbook coming out with a pretty nice Steelbook here in the US, I think. A Minecraft movie for all the chicken jockeys in the chat. The Tale of Oiwa's Ghost from
Or your popcorn.
Radiance. No, thank you. I Know What You Did Last Summer 4K Steelbook coming out from the studio. Palindromes 4K from Radiance shipping to all of the fans of salons. Snow White 4K. Let's go past that one as quick as we can. JFK 4K, the next Shout Factory Oliver Stone. 32 short films about Glenn Gould. Still can't believe that got a 4K from Criterion. That's great.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Looney Tunes Platinum Collection is one of a couple getting a re-release, which I think is great. That's Volume 1. We're also getting Volume 2. Executive Suite from Warner Archive. Breaking Glass from Fun City is shipping now from their website. That's pretty cool. The Doctor Who titles from Severin are getting their wide release next week. Don't forget about those. Rustler's Rhapsody from Kino. Audie Murphy Collection Volume 5. Yes, War Hero, all that stuff. Not taken away from that. The Enchanted Cottage from Warner Archive. Devil's Sword from TerraVision will finally be shipping here in the next 10 to 12 days, I believe. Let's see. The Citadel from Warner Archive. The Great Chase from Neon Eagle, which, shoot, I forgot I need to order that. The Tragedy Man shipping from Deaf Crocodile now. The Experiment in Terror from Sony. Rico the Mean Machine from Cauldron. That is most of them. Day at the Beach from Indicator. Capote. Ephus from Music Box. I need to see that one. Any of these other than Dark City that you're after here?
Well, I'm Sorcerer, of course. Masterpiece, 32 films about Glenn Gould. Yeah, there's a lot here. Actually, Sleeping Beauty's pretty good. I did care for The Monkey. I mean, the Monkey's one I would probably watch again, but just for the fun of it. Basically the creative kills, that kind of thing. Bring It On is actually, I think, slept on. I think should be better regarded. So,
yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Are we transitioning to the main?
Yeah, we'll go to our main course.
My thing, if you'd like, because it's gonna come up. So you want to scoop? Oh,
let's do it.
I didn't mean to. I did not mean to connect that to a Woody Allen conversation from 10 seconds ago. So I've the scoop is that so as you all know, I'm writing the A24 New Wave. Ryan was actually the first and last Kickstarter backer for that. So after the Kickstarter ended, I had to basically make sure I watched the remainder of all the A24. You kind of have to watch the movies to write about them.
Yeah, please,
and then finish up. And I'm actually pretty close to finish with the manuscript. I'm at about 450 pages. We had to change some editorial direction, so I'll be with the first revision. So we're preparing publication. So, oh, nice, Colton. So, enjoy your sleep, and yeah, thanks for not caring about my announcement. I'm kidding, no shade. So anyway, I've been writing about all this independent film. That this modern label that there's not a lot written about modern film these days. So I was very surprised. I wish there had been because it would have been easier for me. But so I kept on bumping up against Neon. So usually I wouldn't even announce this, but the thing is, so I've probably going to have a 500-600 pages book about A24 that I'm going to have to cut, and it's through the lens of modern cinema, which I'm sure we'll get to. So I'm actually already working on my follow-up book. Now I'm going to finish the A24 book, but my follow-up book is going to be about Neon. So yeah.
This is pretty exciting, and Neon actually has done a lot of things very, very well. Everybody's laughing at the whole, "Hey, we've picked the Cannes winner." God, how many
Right.
like
6
5 or
years.
6 years in a row? The reality is, they buy highly regarded films
Yeah.
that are just
But
very likely to win.
well, they're not always. Well, they have like half the competition. They
Right,
basically this
right,
year, like yeah, no, they weren't going to lose this year, and they probably won't lose. I mean, they're spending that. That's one criticism that I think is very fair is that A24. They've always been an independent label.
yep,
Basically viral camp. They try to merchandise. They try to make things work. They try to get stuff in as many theaters as they can. Now they're about to release Sorry Baby, big Sundance film, in a limited release, and then a month later, they've already announced a month later to go wide. So
yeah,
people are critical of it's, I wouldn't say burying. I don't think that's the fair word. Um, and then and we'll get into this with Sean's films. So obviously Sean went from A24 to Neon, and I absolutely think that was the right move for him because we'll talk about Red Rocket's going to come up in our conversation, and of course it's a COVID film, came out during the pandemic. It's a male porn star, so you have all that going for you. It should have been $100 million film, but I just personally don't feel like that release window was treated well, and I
right.
think that what and I can be critical of A24. I'm a big fan. I'm a massive fan. Look at my wall. But I think that Neon basically succeeded with Honora again, female sex worker, dancer slash stripper. That it's almost like on the other side of the coin of the Red Rocket story. Just and yeah, she obviously does go a little further than just dancing. But they did commit to their word. They put it in theaters. They had a great Oscar campaign. Obviously, the proof is in the pudding,
Huge Oscar campaign.
and they're willing to spend. And frankly, A24 has like a 4 billion valuation now. So I'm surprised they haven't opened up their pocketbook. I don't know that they do great with international distribution either.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing is, they're still a great company. And I love both. So that's as I've been writing the later stages, So I'm obviously I'm writing about Ty West right now, and that's a lot. But he's also, as you can imagine, that's near the end. But I just kept on bumping up more against Neon, as I continued, and yeah, no, so I basically kind of like I do talk about Neon in the book. You can't not in the A24 book, and
Right.
I don't even care if anybody else writes one about Neon. I usually would you should announce a book that you haven't really made some progress on. It's
Right.
just not a good idea. But since I've already got the infrastructure for this, looking through modern distribution through a classic cinema. New wave cinema look, and the A24 book looks at lots of all these influences that we're about to talk about. So basically the Neon book is going to be a sequel, and I might write a movie one after that, or maybe a Janus Films, I don't know. So oh, thanks, this name.
Yeah, I was about to. I didn't want to cut you off here, but yeah, correction.
No,
This name, I for some reason I thought the Shawscope only had 9. Totally forgot. This name says Arrow Shawscope Volume 1 had 12 movies. Volume 2 and 3 both had 14 movies. Just correcting because I've seen you claim as little as 8 on several occasions now. It's hard because there's so many Shawscope films and I just
yeah,
forget. So
and there's
thanks.
the shout ones too. So yeah,
Well, and the shout ones are easy because every single one is 11. That's kind of easy to
right, yeah,
memorize.
which
But
is
they've also
what
done.
Spinal Tap goes to.
Touche. They've also done their exclusive box sets, and there's just so many. Like, if you're a fan of Shaw Brothers Studios, you are. First of all, you have to be rich nowadays if you want them all
Oh,
because
yeah,
there's so
wow.
many.
They're everywhere, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you could basically have a whole shelf of, Shaw, which is crazy because, like, they're very, very important for film
yeah,
history, and we're not available really anywhere for, like, all of our lives. And
that's
now all
true.
of a sudden, there's too much. Stop, stop. So anyway, should we talk about the man?
Yeah. So tonight, Aaron and I, we knew that we wanted to talk about something related to A24, and we both have
What?
at least acquaintance to
I'm
friendship
here.
with Sean Baker, and it was something where we wanted to tie into the book so that we could discuss it. And with Honora winning an Oscar, I was very excited to talk about these. Now, to this point, Sean has released plenty of films. He's got 8 movies, so it's going to be a long conversation tonight. We're going to try to talk about like the artistic merits that Sean can be expected to include, talk about his history, talk about how he films, talk about patterns and things that he's enjoyed over the years in his filmmaking, and also trying to tie it in with A24. Since they did release Red Rocket, we will be discussing that for at least a moment and how they treated that movie.
Florida Project.
Florida Project for sure. But even comparing those two, they treated both of those very differently. So yeah, we will definitely go into the nuance on those. But I mean, there's so many names associated with A24 that we could have discussed. And one of the cool things is in your book, there's going to be a hell of a lot of different names touched on and chapters written about and parts of this new wave of cinema that have been affected by this one company. And Sean is, let's be honest, a huge part of that over these last 25 years. He
independent cinema, yeah,
grown immensely. So let's get into it. First, love to hear what was your first foray into Sean Baker. What was the first movie you saw or anything from him that you learned about him?
Well, it's been a while, so I actually checked, and Sean and I first met in 2017. So I interviewed him just shortly after he was at Cannes. I actually cut up that interview because I wanted to quote it. And Sean actually said this during the interview. He said that he had just got back from Cannes, and he was a listener of our podcast, so he already knew us, which was great. And we'd been talking for a long time. And to answer your question, probably the first one was Tangerine, and I think that's where this is in the book as well. Tangerine was. He says that a lot of people say that Tangerine was his breakout, but he thinks that Prince of Broadway was his breakout, which wasn't really widely available then. So, and neither was Starlet, and Starlet still could get a better release. But really, Tangerine, of course. Then he was known as the iPhone guy, which we'll talk about. And so I met him. I had not seen the Florida Project, but he said that when he gets back from Cannes, or when he gets back from film festivals and preparing for a release, he kind of gets his talking points together. And by the way, he does a lot of press. I know you've talked to him. Friends of ours have talked to him. There are interviews everywhere. And I have found he says a lot of the same thing. Sorry, Sean, but you do sometimes. But he says he's so great talking about film. I actually put this in the book that like sometimes, especially when he's talking about his influences, like his voice, his inflection changes. He gets so excited. I love listening. And so I got like basically unfiltered, unvarnished, unprepped Sean talking about Florida Project. So my favorite quotes were the ones he gave me, but of course there are a lot of great quotes. So and I hadn't seen the Florida Project at the time. I actually jinxed him because I told him, "Oh, you're going to win a lot of Oscars," and he was like, "Don't jinx me." And then after Oscar night, I was like, "Shit, it's my fault." But he's okay now. He's okay.
He's doing all right.
So really Tangerine, but Florida Project is really, I think, for a lot of people, that's when, Tangerine was like the indie film that, it was the iPhone film that overcame, a pretty modest budget, really. And in fact, I have it here.
Look at that.
Florida Project, I think for a lot of people, that's when he really landed on people's radar. And yeah, same for me. That's when I had seen Takeout, but it was like a 99-cent rental or something on like Amazon or Vudu or something like that. But yeah, no, the Florida Project is really. I was like, okay, well, he's really somebody to reckon with, and he was. Just he's talked a lot about this to me, to others. He's really good at maintaining his own films, and I think that's a lost art. And so now we're seeing, and we'll talk about this. He's bringing his films out, his older films. Yep. So, and he's doing them right. So we'll get into this. Are we going to rank these, or how are we going to do this?
We are going to rank these. Like I said, Sean has put out 8 films. One of them has been historically very difficult to see, so we're not going to say much about four-letter words tonight. I'm still hoping that eventually we get some sort of a physical release of that. It deserves to be on Blu-ray, especially now that he's got the cachet of literally winning the most Oscars in one night for one film. That's pretty incredible. So hopefully somebody can touch four-letter words, but we're not going to be able to rank it tonight because neither one of us has seen it. But other than that, we're going to talk about the other 7 films.
Well, actually,
Try not.
I a tiny bit on four-letter words
Okay,
because
sure.
he actually told me in 2017. I just heard it. He told, well, first off, it showed up on the Criterion channel for like a split
Yeah,
second,
yeah.
and then it was gone. And so I just, because that was the same month as his bundle that showed
Mm,
up on the channel. So I just thought, oh wow, they're giving us one more. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if he would tell us. I'm sure he knows,
yeah.
but in 2017, he had told me that on my podcast, so it's public, he had told me that he had worked with Vinegar Syndrome on a 4K restoration of four-letter words, and
Oh,
he was then
nice.
trying to get it out by the end of the year. So obviously, he was new to Oscar campaigns. I mean, he had done some Indie Spirit campaigns, so he probably just got busy.
Yeah,
And the man is continuing to get busy. So I don't know what happened with that release. I'll just say that I think someday. The one thing is he's not disappointed. He's very proud that he made that film because he was very young. This was before Greg the Bunny, which we can
yeah,
get into if you'd like. He was very young, and he just thought it was cool to make a film on 35 millimeter, and that film is important. The film stock he's
yeah.
used all kinds, so he was very proud. But I think he would say, I don't want to put words in his mouth that I haven't heard, but I don't know if embarrassed is the word, but he doesn't think it doesn't measure up to his other work in his opinion. So, but I don't think he would block it. I think he would let it come out, and but I wouldn't expect the same as like I think Takeout On is when his auteur level came out. So anyway, one day,
Yeah,
hopefully.
we got I mean, you just mentioned a bunch of things that I definitely have undersold how much we got to cover tonight. Because even like the formats that he shot on are all across the board. He has
Yeah.
developed as a filmmaker from loving Dogma 95 stuff to being famous for using iPhones to making takeout with like literally the best possible thing that he could to now being a champion of filming on celluloid. And it's gonna be a lot to cover tonight. So my first one I just want to shout out tonight was Tangerine as well. Came to that fairly
Well,
quickly after the release.
Oh, your first one. Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
just first one I
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah.
It's not on the bottom of my list. But it's one that I knew that this was going to be a special filmmaker for me.
Yeah.
Specifically,
Yeah.
the ending really got me to
Oh, yeah.
appreciate him immediately. So we'll cover that tonight. Try not to spoil much from the films, but we're going to try to share as much from the stories as we can because they deserve it. And the stories with Sean's films, they're mostly about developing characters and sharing deep, like, parts of people's lives.
Aquafina Pro script. That's the font. That's another
Yeah.
part. Vomit. There's so much.
Yeah, that's true. I mentioned that the other night when I was rewatching one of these to my wife.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get into it. If we're not ranking four-letter words, what is your number 7 for Sean's filmography?
My number 7. I almost like wrote a piece of paper because it's not out anywhere. The thing is, I just want to preface since we're ranking. No, nothing wrong with ranking. It's natural. We all love to do it. But I love all his films,
Well,
so last place does not mean it's a bad film. So last place, 7 of 7, not including four-letter words, is Starlet. But the thing is, I think Starlet is a fantastic film, and that was really his first in the sex worker industry,
yeah.
and he really dove in. So that was really interesting to research because he literally a porn star, porn house in the valley, and I kind of learned about how he researches. And I don't want to get like I don't know, creepy or whatever. I mean, he researches like somebody would research a subject properly. He tries to find out what their lives are like, and he'll it's not like I mean, I guess it is kind of like verite in a little bit.
Oh,
He'll
absolutely.
observe, and he'll look. So like, for example, he's talked about like the houses they lived in, and so Starlet is about porn stars, and it's about the relationship of a porn star with by chance she meets an aging lady. Yeah, no spoilers, but that so it's kind of a Harold and Maude. In fact, it was directly inspired by Harold and Maude, and they actually watched Harold and Maude during the shooting. I don't think he does that for every one of his films. Really good film. But again, the other 6 are really good too. So Starlet is my number 7. Hopefully, we'll see a release from that. Not sure. I mean, I've heard some rumors, so we'll just
you don't have the release that's out for that one. I'm surprised.
Oh, okay. I don't have a release for that one
because Music Box released it. I've got the Blu-ray for it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't have the release for that. Sorry.
Aaron, shame. Sean is taking notes right now. You're banned.
Yeah, Sean will get it.
No, I get it. I'll talk about Starlet more in just a minute.
So you have it. Okay, good.
I do have it. My number 7 is a different title, which again, kind of like Aaron said, all 7 of these I truly enjoy. I don't think there are any here that are bad movies in any way. But number 7 for me is Prince of Broadway, which
I do have that. Sorry, I do have Starlet. I do own it. I just didn't. It's upstairs. I didn't grab it. So Prince of Broadway. Okay.
Prince of Broadway is number 7. It's not your number 7, so I'll hold thoughts on mine until we get to yours, and we'll discuss the plot in detail and the kinetic nature of this movie. Because man, is it kinetic! Let's go to your number 6. What's your number 6?
So surprise, number 6 is Tangerine, which is again a great film. And by the way, the second side edition, this is only Blu-ray, and this is where iPhone film, I do think it would still benefit from a 4K, but not a whole lot. But yeah, Tangerine is just a fantastic film, and this is where Karen Karagulian really, I think, proved his mettle. So he was in Starlet. I mean, he's been in every one of Sean's films, varying levels of I'd say quantity or duration or even appearance. One we just get a voice. Actually, 2 we just get a voice. But Karagulian is great. Again, we won't spoil the final scene, but I do agree. The final scene was very much inspired. I'll say that the film and the way it unraveled was very much inspired by like Mike Leigh films. Yeah, it's really just a wonderful film too. But you got to rank something 6th. So Tangerine is my 6th.
Yep, and I'll talk about this one more in just a minute too, because it's a little higher on mine. But my number 6 is one that you already mentioned, so we'll go a little deeper now, so I can talk in depth on this one, and that is Starlet. So Starlet is a 2012 film. Aaron already gave some of the plot. The big thing, which isn't really a spoiler because it happens in like the first 4 minutes, is the happenstance here. I think is really interesting. It's a porn star who's trying to save money and is going to yard sales, and buys a thermos and gets home and discovers that it was full of money. And that sets up the entire rest of the film here. And the movie is known for a couple things. Specifically, if you look up like films with unsimulated sex, this is one of the ones that gets mentioned fairly early on a lot of those lists because it's one of the more recent ones. And it does. There's things displayed in here that are very obviously really happening and being captured on camera. And I think for the story that we're telling, I think that was important, and a lot of filmmakers would not have taken that step like Sean did, and to make it more verite and more real and more authentic for the viewer in that situation was not meant to titillate in any way, which is funny with the story that they're telling and what they're doing in that scene. But I think it was important to do there and actually display the raw and real aspect of this person's career. Literally, it's what their job is. But the film
at work.
Yeah, the film is extremely well acted for the story that they're telling. You could easily expect somebody to just sort of phone it in and be okay not doing much, but man, performances here are you can't even say like fun, because there's a lot of stuff in this that is funny as an outsider watching, but in the moment this person is not living a super happy life. And Starlet is just a really great movie. It is made in such an authentic way, like you said, shot in the valley. There are scenes that I can say, yeah, I've been on that corner of that street right there specifically.
Same. I used to live there. Yeah.
It is so crazy to see films like this that are just like a slice of somebody's life, and you can say, man, my life was sliced right there as well. A really fun sort of odd mismatch of characters that come together in a unique way, and to tell that story It's a classic, tried and true thing. The odd couple sort of story, and with that, you get a lot of funny interactions, a lot of sad interactions, a lot of realization that both people are making as they go through their little short period of their lives where they were interacting. And I think Starlet is great. It deserves another release. Not that Music Box didn't give a good release, but I think that if we get more eyes on this film, it would do pretty well. I think people deserve a better glimpse into this and a chance at discovering it.
Yeah, so I purposely did not get into like unsimulated sex in the book because that's just there's a lot of interesting stuff. But of course, that's something that we're aware of. Yeah, hey Jaden. I just want to point out again Sean's big influence, The Idiots. So
Yeah.
again, Lars von Trier. The dogma rules are that everything on screen that happens is actually on, or everything on film happens in the scene as well. And
Yeah.
there's a sex scene there. So I highly suspect it's unsimulated. That's within the thing with dogma is they would have to confess if anything was not. So and now I'm not saying that, and I don't want to be creepy here. I'm not saying that I've already used the word creepy like 4 times. That Sean would I think Sean is very, very tasteful, very intentional on how he portrays the subject, and I think he is influenced by the dogma values. Again, this is one of his favorite films. If not, it might be his favorite. And so, again, the sex is one of the less important parts of it.
Absolutely.
There have been some with Honora, of course. There have been some comments about intimacy coordinators. Just also keep in mind his producing partner and when I first met him, it was his girlfriend Samantha Kwan. She helps with. I think she kind of is. She acts as a intimacy coordinator in some ways, and he does establish trust with the performers. Nobody's really complained, as far as I know, about how that's happened. And this was Dree Hemingway, and I forget the name of the other porn actresses. But no, I think frankly, I think it's like one of the best portrayals of the Valley. You don't see a lot of films that really nail the Valley like that. No pun intended. But also, the thing is, not many people were making movies about the porn industry, but we are living in the porn age. It exists. There's a Nathan Fielder sketch about where he pretends to not watch pornography. People watch pornography. That is the reality. So I think it's cool that he just made we're about the same age. He made a film about this at that age. So so I agree. I wish Starlet were higher, but maybe on a rewatch.
It's difficult when you're ranking a list of all things you love.
I know it's really hard.
So on that note, what's your number 5?
I pulled my hair out almost to the point where I was a conehead. So my number 5, again, love it, is Prince of Broadway. So so this is a really, by the way, the Criterion, Sean does such a great job. He does so much on he wears every hat in a film project, really almost literally. But that includes the home releases. Of course, he's just like us, and that's he discovered us, I think, from just our commentary about home releases. And I'm really glad because he really just puts everything out. So this disc is just phenomenal. And so I think I'd seen an early version. By the way, a lot of filmmakers get criticized for tinkering with their films. But Sean, he didn't have he's working with micro budgets, didn't have the opportunity. So so this one he tinkered with, and I'm glad it's not a Warren Kar-wai, definitely not a George Lucas. But I think this is a great film. He also talks a lot about his influence by Our Gang, Spanky McFarlane. I have this all in the book, and this is really the first time that he was able to bring that influence into his films, and that's really when his comedy started to take off. Although no, I'd say there's some in Takeout as well, but yeah, Prince of Broadway is my 5, but I love it so much. And I'm talking a lot about this. I love the way he approached this too. Like he didn't write a script. He wanted to learn this industry or this atmosphere, this I guess criminality, you could call it. He's filming something that was not legal, still is not legal, and filming people in amateur actors. So really a great indie approach. If you haven't seen Prince of Broadway, I highly recommend it. So yeah, my number 5 is Prince of Broadway.
So, like I said, this was not my number 7, but I'll go into a little more detail here since I was waiting for you to play your card on it. This movie, for those that have not seen it, is about a guy that is a bootlegger that sells
Yeah,
primarily shoes and bags and stuff on Broadway in the back of a little store that Karin Karagulin is the manager of and kind of guarding the front. This is a film that is kind of topsy turvy. If you don't see the right
yeah.
poster for it, you have no idea what to expect with this movie because it feels like it's going to be something completely different. It's just a guy living his life trying to get by on bootlegs, and then
Hmm.
suddenly he gets somebody that walks into his life again and says, "Here, this child is yours. I'll be back in 2 weeks." And how this person who's living this life in New York City in a not great living situation deals with that over the following weeks. And it's a movie that carries out in a lot of ways that you would expect and a lot of ways that you wouldn't expect. Like I said earlier, it is quite a kinetic film. And I think
Hmm.
that was fully on purpose because this is a kinetic life that somebody has to live to be in this situation. Loud noises, pretty much 24/7. Raising a child in that in a volatile life already is going to be quite difficult. And good Lord, the way that he shot this movie, you feel every single moment of that. I mean, they
Yeah,
filmed
it's really well done.
on the street with a
Hmm.
2-year-old in winter, and you can feel every single like grimy choice that is happening in this movie. One of his best vomiting scenes in any of his movies is
Yeah.
in this movie.
Well,
Um,
yeah, okay, we'll get to the one of my favorites, but yeah,
yeah,
uh,
one of his best. I mean, there's
yeah.
a few that
There's
are really great.
if you want a vomit director, dude, this is the guy. If you like vomit, yeah, no, I love it. It's so great, and great child performance too. The kid
Yeah,
was 18 months,
yep.
so he compares him to Spanky McFarlane, who he calls one of the greatest child actors. And the thing is, so many. I mean, filmmaking. It's so. Everything hinges on like the actor. If they got a bad actor, I mean, maybe they could have found a couple others, but the kid was just great.
Yep.
And his name was Prince
Was
as well.
Prince, yeah.
I kind of wonder, I haven't found him talking about it, but there are some common names, so I don't know. We might get into that, but he likes to make connections throughout his films. I called it the Bakerverse in the book, which yeah, I think is fun. So that starts here. I think the sex works technically starts here too,
In
because
a way,
of
yeah.
in a way, yeah, not directly, but I would say the Florida Project that is indirect as well. So yeah, no, I love it. I love all these. I don't know if I'm smiling, but I should be
Yeah.
if I'm not. So
And I know that we already talked about the home video release, but this is a genuinely like surprisingly solid disc
yeah.
for what a lot of people did not expect from this. And then the big thing is right now, pretty much all of the extras are on the Criterion channel. So if you've
Oh,
never seen
great.
this,
Yeah.
it's one of the best ways to watch it. There's like a hour long making of. They talk about the restoration process. That is again, like you said, it's
Hmm.
revisionist in a way, but for a very positive reason. He just didn't have the resources that he
Yeah.
needed at the time to make it look great, and now it looks incredible.
And he's talked about that too, and I do discuss that in the book tiny bit about because he's really into restoring his movies, and frankly, he should be, and we're better off for it. So I don't know whose turn it is.
I still haven't shared my number 5. It's
Oh,
actually mine. Now,
go ahead.
if this is the same choice as your number 4, speak up so that we can both go wax poetically on it. But my number 5 is Takeout, which I love quite a bit. This movie got a Criterion release 2 years ago, I believe, at this point, and
Hmm.
this movie is very early in his career. It's 2004. It is technically a second feature, and it is about a gentleman that works in a takeout restaurant in New York City, who is a bicycle delivery driver of food for this restaurant. He is in a rough situation and needs a bunch of money in the next, I think it's 48 hours or whatever. And we see him trying to earn that money. This movie kind of took me because it is it was shot, I believe, in 2003 or maybe early 2004, and being shot in New York City, 9/11 still loomed large. It's mentioned in the film, but the big thing is you can feel it. It is something that, with the immigration story that's always been a big part in New York City. This is a huge part of why this is an important story to put on film. because there are so many people in this country that have not seen something like this. And to be fair with Sean, they'll still likely never watch
Yeah.
it. That should be watching it.
Yeah.
But this is like the defining example of Roger Ebert's quote about movies being empathy machines, because this
Mhm.
is the type of thing that you watch, and if you don't go, damn, like I really feel for this guy, specifically in the end of this movie, you're just like a broken person, basically. I love
Mhm.
the acting in this movie. I love that it's literally just an actual restaurant, and we're filming a piece of somebody's life in a way that shows you exactly what to love about Sean's style. I've loved this movie since the first time I saw it, and I'm so glad that Criterion deemed it worthy to put out as their first
It was the
Sean
first.
Baker
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, that's my number 5. I love Takeout. Please watch it.
Yeah, there's it was a lot. So it's not my number 5 or my number 4 even. What I'll say is that, well, first off, have you seen Greg the Bunny?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, Greg the Bunny is a big part of Sean's story, and we should mention that he this would not happen had he not
Right.
made Greg the Bunny. He funded this film on his second season paycheck, and
Yep.
I know the amount that's in my book. I think it's 47,000 is what he made, and he just put it all into the film. He's a true indie
Oh
indie
yeah.
guy. Frankly, in 2004, with 40, or this was actually later, 2007, I want to say. Yeah, putting $47,000, and you live in New York. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, that's a lot of money. So, Takeout was his first film, but he was working on Greg the Bunny, and working on that IFC season 2, which was kind of like vignettes, but really like cinephilia, like the lovable dorkiness. And he has talked about how, he's a cinephile. He was like, I've watched foreign, believe it or not, I watch foreign films. I think I saw him say once. But he thought that the Greg the Bunny fans would hate Takeout. So well, maybe not hate, but would not be the right audience. So he like he was working on this film while filming this this TV show that had a cult following, and obviously paved the way for his future. But this costs like 10,000, as you mentioned, shot on mini DV. I think he and Siching Su, this was a co-direction. Xiqing, I should say, and she's been the one thing he's got loyalty. Everybody
Yeah.
reappears, not just Caragullian. She, the donut scene. She is the donut proprietor, and we'll get to another donut connection. Yeah, I love the little Easter eggs he throws in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll save more thoughts on Takeout for when I get to it on my list. But it's not my number 4.
All right.
Obviously I love it. So yeah.
Let's hear number 4 then.
Oh, so? This might surprise some people. Florida Project.
Nice.
This is where like everything from here on out is really masterpiece territory, and really I think that's actually unfair to the films that came before it, because I think really they're all, and they can be called masterpieces of their type. Yeah, the Florida Project. So what's interesting is I remember, I was talking to him, and I remember the movie was called The Florida Project, and I thought that was a working title because, okay,
Sounds
it's
like
a film project, and it's in Florida. I didn't realize
Yeah.
until in fact, I don't even think it clicked after I watched it. The Florida Project, this is the projects for these people in Orlando. And of course, it's the the Magic Castle Hotel, the Magic Kingdom, real hotel. And there's going to be a second side. It's been announced. It hasn't been announced like as far as like the details, but he just went down there and filmed. Now that hotel is a Howard Johnson, and dumbasses, they painted the hotel gray. So 1.6 Yelp rating for the hotel. I have so much for this, but no, I love this. Now, Willem Dafoe is the heart and soul. Well, not the heart and soul. I'd say the moral center. But the one thing about Sean is he does not overdo the exposition. There's other things like diegetic sound, like really geeky stuff. Like in this one, he plays Celebration at the end, and in a great way. But Bobby is the hotel manager, played by Dafoe. By the way, do you have this as number 4, or is it higher?
I do not. It is higher.
Okay. Well, we'll bounce around a little bit. No, but the thing is, I don't really have any critiques. I think it's a great film. Like I said, Willem Dafoe loved Tangerine, and Willem Dafoe, I want to say he reached out to Sean and they and talked him into working together. I can't see another actor playing Bobby.
No, not like that, especially.
And then I'm sorry, Harmony. Brooklyn Prince plays Mooney. She was an actress. So he cast mostly unknown. Actually, he sourced the cast from all over the place. We don't have to go into all of that. I'm not like reading my book to you, but um, but she was an actress. Now you'd think that when you watch his films that like everybody improvises and he lets people improvise, but he mostly stays close to the script, but he lets people try some things. So he let the kids try some things, but the kids really, you know, they were fine at playing themselves basically. So he kind of had to have them stick to the script. But Brooklyn Prince, as he likes to say, he got gold, kind of like Prince of Broadway Prince.
Yeah.
He just found that she had it, and she's so hilarious. And so a lot of the great lines in this movie she improvised, like the one time where Bobby says thank you and she says you're not welcome, one of the biggest laughs in the film. Yeah, so anyway, I love the Florida Project. It's because Bobby is has a fractured family, but he loves very much like a difficult love for a flawed family. So again, you don't know where he's coming from. You don't know where Hallie is coming from. You just see them as they are, and hold that thought. I'll actually connect it to another film, but yeah, no, the Florida Project, masterpiece again. I can't believe I have to pick between it and the three other films.
Yeah.
So.
This is a great choice. Like I said, I'll talk about mine in just a second. But my number 4 is one that you've already talked about, so I'm going to go into detail on this one a little bit, and that is 2015's Tangerine. Man, so this movie. Oh, this movie is special. So Tangerine, shot on an iPhone, like an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 8 or whatever it was at the time.
I think 7. Yeah.
It is a Christmas Eve film, and Cindy is the name of our main character here that we follow through these different neighborhoods and establishments and relationships in Los Angeles, and find all these subcultures that we're touching. There is about 3 or 4 storylines that we see throughout this movie, and then they all come together in a very you could say comical, you could say sad, you could say hilarious. It's like a very emotional scene that is just wonderfully set up, wonderfully filmed, an incredible payoff. And that really is what cemented it higher for me. Is the ending of this movie is damn near perfect. The acting is great. James Ransone comes back, who was also in Starlet, plays a big part in this. I think the acting in this is tremendous. I think the iPhone thing is definitely what made a lot more people check this out, which made it appear to be like a breakout film for him, because it was a big deal at a time to have a feature-length film shot in an iPhone, which a lot of indie filmmakers were doing, but this was like an indie with a capital I filmmaker doing it, and that was a big deal. And now we're getting 28 years later shot on 20 different iPhones at the same time and going to be making box office millions. But yeah, Tangerine is a staple that should be watched every Christmas. It is a magnificent film. Really leaned into the sex work side after Starlet, and a very different side of sex work, clearly, than what we were seeing. But just magnificent. And again, if you've not seen it, you should check it out. And from what I've heard, I think you would back me up, I don't think we're going to be getting a better release of this anytime soon. This is notorious for having a rough distribution deal, so I would love to see this get some more attention, but that second side is probably the best it'll be for the foreseeable future in the US.
If I did know something I couldn't say, but a great film. The one thing, and I won't get into like the film geeky, Sean, even though like he does not gatekeep formats, like obviously he wants to shoot on film. He's very proud. We'll get to Anora. It's on all of our lists, of course. Everybody loves Anora, 35 millimeter, and really, film is a big part of the Anora story. But the thing is, like, even though it's not like he just pulled out his phone and just shot an
Right.
iPhone. He made it as cinematic as possible, and probably just because of his skill as a filmmaker at that point, he had a few films under his belt. Not many people had heard of him, but some. He was big in indie circles, so
Yeah.
I'd heard of him, but hadn't been able to see his films. But he had a process the way he handled that film, and so it looks amazing for an iPhone, and it does kind of look like film. Sure, sometimes it is kind of like take out his mini DV. Obviously, it's not going to look like you can't
It's limited. Yeah.
it's limited. Yeah, there's only upside so much, but yeah, no, I that's why I feel bad for putting its last on my list of wonderful films. And that's the thing. Any other given day, it could be higher. You're right.
Right.
I think as far as like from the opening scene till the end, like it's the most captivating. Like it really
Yeah.
pulls you into the narrative and then pays off the most. So somebody had pointed out that big disc energy. He's an excellent writer. This is really, I think, when we first saw that, because I
Yeah.
think previously he'd written scripts, but he was basically working with what the actors gave them and what the surroundings gave him. But no, I love Tangerine. So
Yeah, the iPhone aspect, like you were getting at, was kind of overplayed here a little bit. People like, ooh, it was only shot
yeah,
on iPhone. This guy had a rig to hold the iPhone. He was on
yeah.
a full filming rig. He had lenses. This is not just point and shoot with an iPhone. This is professionally made. So it's still a great movie. Everybody should own The Second Sight if you are appreciative of Sean's films in any way. Wonderful release. Aaron, what's your number 3?
Sorry, I'm searching. It's weird to say this. I'm searching for my book, and there's a lot of iPhone in my book. Yeah, no, it became like I think it actually helped him because that novelty got him some press. So my number 3, Red Rocket. So this is not. What is this? Your number 3?
No, sir.
All right, all right. Now, the final 3 were. I mean, all of this was tough, clearly.
Yep.
So. Well, okay. I'm gonna hold off on Red Rocket. I'll get to it when you get to it. What's your
We'll
number
talk at the
3?
same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get caught up here. Actually, my number 3 is The Florida Project, which
Oh, great.
again, I think everything that I've said since Takeout and above are all kind of magnificent movies. So
Mhm.
I had Takeout at number 5, Tangerine at number 4, Florida Project at number 3, and this movie is just stupendous. The big thing here is Willem Dafoe's performance, and the kids are untouchable. On top of that, the hotel itself and the setting that we're in is literally like a character itself in this, and the scenes from the abandoned rooms that we see them in, to the fire, to the little restaurant right across from the hotel, everything about that is just, for anybody that has lived in any semblance of poverty, so relatable about this movie. It is an astonishing film to see what he could put out there for this sort of story. It is absolutely amazing to see that somebody that is tending to a hotel is able to deliver the performance that Willem Dafoe is. It is such a beautiful and like very relatable situation that he finds himself in, that he cares about all these people but just doing his job, and he has to maintain the hotel. Chris is asking if I remember correctly, did Second Sight announce the Florida Project? They did, after Sean spilled the beans that he was going to Florida to film new interviews for Second Sight. So yeah, I believe they're doing it in I would assume probably like a nice 4K release. But yeah, that should be coming out or getting announced here in the coming months. Kubrick says Willem Dafoe's a great actor, even better, a good person. Absolutely. And then Big Disc says Red Rocket is so good, even though it's funny, it's an incredible character study. Absolutely, it is. We're going to get into that because that is one of the reasons why it's so high on my list. But yeah, the Florida Project, again, another empathy machine. You see a part of subcultures that we don't get in cinema. Like, a lot of people would never just do a film based on people that are living in hotels full time, and how that makes you feel about those people. So props to Sean. Amazing movie. And for
Really? Yeah.
his first movie that got Oscar contention, to have that be at number 3 on my list and number I think it was 4 on yours, that really says a lot about this man's filmography. That's kind of intense. Yeah.
I joked with you 7 films tied for first.
Yeah.
8th is 4-letter words. I'm just guessing. Um, no, the way I structure the book, and well, I should say that this chapter, but really the book, is I talk about, well, first off, there are film movements, and what precedes Sean is Cassavetes. But by that point of the book, I've already talked about Dogma 95. I've already talked about British social realism, which is a big influence. And of course, I get into all the other influences that in the other films. But the thing is with Defoe and Bobby, I open and then I talk about each film. There's some other stuff I do with like user reviews, which is fun. But but I open the Florida Project chapter, which is the first A24, and Sean talks very. At that time, he said that A24 was basically like the place where all his favorite movies were made. So the label, and actually when I talked to him, he was going out to see A Ghost Story that very evening, David Lowery. So Sean, if you can remember when you saw A Ghost Story, that's when you talked to me. So
Fun movie.
But I open up the Florida Project talking about the scene in which Bobby, played by Defoe, goes to the playground and encounters credited as, I believe, Suspicious Man was the name of the character. And really, it's the scene that really caught my attention in that movie, and I think that's really when you see Bobby in his element and how much he cares, even though he is flawed. And so just the way that scene plays out, the performance from Defoe. I mean, obviously Defoe is a great actor. We've seen that in A24 films and otherwise. But the fire with which he kind of ends that scene with is really, really tremendous. And it says a lot about, what he does for those kids and how he sees his job. And now Caragullian is his boss, Narek, who sees things differently. Probably he's not really remembered as much in that role as. Do you remember Narek very well from?
I mean, he doesn't stick out as much because I have watched him in so many other movies that are just
Yeah.
his role is so much larger. But it's that thing where once you've seen enough of Sean movies, you're just waiting for him to pop up for a moment at
He's great.
least.
Well, he plays Narek as the hotel owner,
Yeah,
and that's what he's called. But Mooney calls him Bossy Man.
yeah.
So he's the bad guy. He does that. He's really good at it. So no, I love Horror Project, and yeah, it's that's where 4 and 3 especially are very, very close for a couple reasons. So
I agree. Well, let's hear your number 2.
I haven't gotten a number. Oh yeah, you haven't gotten a. Okay, well that's fine because
Because that was my number 3, and you were
Okay.
going to wait to talk about Red Rocket when I shared my Red Rocket.
Wow,
That was a weird way to say that. When I share what I had at Red Rocket.
I've just been here to see your Red Rocket all night. Meanwhile, I've
I
taken 2 pee
apologize.
breaks, and you have not. I don't know how you do it. He has dehydrated himself for like 8 hours for this. So my number 2 is Takeout, and this is like an unlikely. I say unlikely. It's probably not a consensus pick. I think everybody respects Takeout. I think everybody admires Takeout, but I really think of Takeout as, basically. I mean, obviously it's important for Sean. This is really what put him on the map, and nothing. Greg LeBunny, if he had just ended his career as like a Greg LeBunny and TV show director, he'd be very happy and probably very successful. He's a very skilled, talented guy, and very much, even with Greg the Bunny, his vision is there. He actually went, he shot stuff like an indie filmmaker. So, but Takeout for me is, again, $10,000, so DIY. And as you mentioned, he went to an actual restaurant, found his story from the restaurant, found his narrative. Miss Lee is basically, hey Jim, Miss Lee is basically the anchor, the kind of the heart of the film. And she's funny, but basically the business of running that restaurant is actually the narrative thrust. So I would say that this actually runs very, very fast compared to some of his other films. Not as a criticism, but no, I just love Takeout. I love that it put Sean on the map. I know that he's proud of it too, and that doesn't go into my feelings, but I've also found it's very rewatchable. It's a great movie. So yeah, you had told we'd game planned a little bit, and you said, yeah, some of mine are not mainstream. I was like, yeah. So Takeout is my number 2, and I just think it's a tremendous film, and very proud of it.
Yeah, like
Like
I
I had
said,
to do with it. Yeah.
Takeout is special, and again, on a list like this, even though I have it all the way down at number 5, Takeout is it's the first of on my list of masterpieces. I
Clearly, you
think.
hate it, man.
Anyways, let's get into my number 2, which is not the consensus pick that most people would have Red Rocket at. So let's discuss Red Rocket. It is my number 2. You've got it at number 3, and like we alluded to earlier, this is another sex worker story, but from a very
Mhm.
different perspective. This is a story starring Mr. Simon Rex as a very hilarious character named Mikey Saber,
Like
who goes
Saber.
back to Texas
Look at
City,
this Pornhub.
Texas, with a very iconic donut set of scenes that you alluded to as well.
Yeah.
He goes back to his estranged wife and mother-in-law who are currently living there, and this whole dysfunctional small town that he's not used to, and he comes in and makes a splash. Meets a young woman named Strawberry who works a cash register at that donut shop, and I don't know. There's so much about this movie that I appreciated on first watch that it feels special. It feels like a really growth-filled project for Sean that, again, kind of got fumbled by A24. I think that this should have been
Yeah.
a
I
massive
agree.
hit, and sadly, how it came out, when it came out specifically, and the inability to market this in a way that was more appealing crushed its chances, because I think this should have been almost as big of a hit as Anora was. Simon Rex is hilarious in this, and just wired and amazing and vulnerable in a role that nobody expected out of this like forgotten little VJ that he was.
Yeah.
This movie is intensely loving of film in so many different ways, including posters of films from Severin's filmography that are on the
Yeah.
walls.
Yeah.
The big thing that I really wanted to highlight about this one is this film shows how much Sean's fingers are on the pulse of so many different things.
Yeah.
One of the best depictions of stolen valor in any film that I've ever
Oh,
seen.
right. Yeah.
Some really great small town feeling scenes that are kind of hard to watch if you've ever lived in a film ever lived in a town that films like this little tiny town, so close to industry yet so affected in negative ways by poverty and how people get stuck in it. Just a great view of everything that so many people will never have a chance to see, because most people aren't going to visit small town Texas City, Texas, and live with a small family like this that is affected day to day. God, this movie has so much going for it, and we just lost it due to COVID. And I don't want to blame it all on COVID. A24 definitely is a big hand to blame in how this was rolled out. But this movie is a masterpiece and should have been a Nora Part 1, essentially, in how Sean Baker exploded. Rich, we're talking about the movie Red Rocket by Sean Baker.
And I see the big disc shout out Dirt Nasty. So that is Mikey Saber himself. His so yeah. I don't know how deep we want to go into this. Again, no pun intended. I love the cover of this is. I hope this will get a boutique release someday. I mean this is fine. It's in fact all of the A24 or the Lionsgates are pretty good releases. They have good supplements usually. They're like not that expensive to buy. I'm with you, but I think what's interesting is talking about COVID. So, and I don't know if you know how this came together.
Yeah.
But it like he had it in his back pocket, and he long story about him wanted to make another film. COVID happened, so he had to pivot. Wanted a little time. It's a miracle this film exists. Like really, I had no idea until I started researching it. Like he did get Mikey Saber. He got he got him to I keep on Mikey Saber, but he got
Simon Rex.
Simon Rex. He got him on very very short notice. The thing is, this was shot with such the normal players, he works with a lot of the same people. So the writer was Chris Bergach, Shing Chu Su. Sorry, now it's getting late. Si Ching Su. I cannot say her name. I've met her, and
Oh man.
she has a new film coming out called The Left-Handed Girl, by the way, that just
Yep.
played Cannes. Si Shing Chu Su Si Shing Su. I
Somebody
can't
please
say
clip
her
this.
name. Lonnie's gonna hate me, but I know. Anyway, did like 5 different jobs on this film, and she played the donut proprietor. So
Yep.
that's another connection to Tangerine. I know, Ronnie. Um, so the thing is, Simon Rex did not even tell his agent. In fact,
Yeah.
Sean said, "Don't tell your agent." And a lot of people thought that this film, they were actually Simon Rex called his agent after the film wrapped and told him that he was in this film, and Simon Rex is a really interesting guy because I think he was really ahead of his time with the dirt nasty stuff. But he was on Vine and stuff, the Twitter thing. Yeah, Drew Daniels, who worked with Schultz, who I also wrote about, great cinematographer. I agree. I hope. I don't know what Schultz is going to do. He took a break and hurry up tomorrow. I don't. Nobody's asking for him to hurry up to make that kind of film again. Um, I think we do have to get into the politics though a little bit.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I don't want to blame A24 for completely. I don't really know what happened. Um, Even Sean said that this was going to be a tough sell because with sex workers, like the male porn star, is kind of the bottom of the sex worker chain. Like he's the most hated. In fact, I mean, this is like the fact that Simon Rex made people empathize and even kind of root for him is really amazing. It's one
Yeah.
of the best performances in a Sean Baker movie. So but the thing is, this is set during the 2016 election, so there's a big scene where, well, there's a lot of big scenes, but there's a scene where he rides his tiny little bike through a very widescreen shot, and there's a big Trump sign. So what's interesting is like in the script, Mikey Saber actually talks more about Trump, and because you don't know where he is politically, but you just based on the demographics, you would think he's probably MAGA. Um, but the other thing is he's also a porn star, so kind of like if he's MAGA, he's going against his own interests because Trump doesn't like him that
Yeah.
much. So the one thing that with if you Google Sean Baker, look at some corners of the internet, probably if you post a thread on Reddit or even like Twitter, Blue Sky, somebody's going to bring up some scandal has followed Sean, and I don't think it's been fair. And that's not this is unbiased because this is just based on my research. But Sean would say that Honora was his most political film. I think it's Red Rocket, and Sean has I pulled something from the book. If you don't mind, I'm not going to read it because it's a long paragraph. Um, but he said his politics are complicated, and that's fair. We live in a very very weird world, and he said he wants to keep his films ambiguous enough where audience can apply their own politics to it. He doesn't want to be preaching to the left. He doesn't want to be preaching to the right. He has said that he doesn't like the two-party system, and I don't think he's alone in that. And I think that's almost a bipartisan. Not many people like even the term bipartisan is kind of a misnomer there. But he is critical of echo chambers, and so that's where people have picked up on his social media activity, and that's where I want to read. I just want to read a little bit. So this is unedited, so this might not be the best word, but a media diet does not define the world, and Baker has admitted that his politics are complicated and the world is in a weird state. Rather than add to that, he wants to make something that provides enjoyment to people, whether it's intellectual stimulation, laughs, or both. He just wants to make his films. So I'm on a little bit of a soapbox here, but the thing is, he also, because he doesn't want to live in an echo chamber and he has to portray life, humanity as it is, characters like Mikey Saber, he's got to understand that world. So I don't want to read the tea leaves. We do follow each other on social media. I have seen who he follows, and I'm not bothered by that. I don't want to read into it, and frankly, I don't think I need to. I think it's up to him if he wants to explain that. My speculation is that he just wants to see the world. I do know that he's talked about the immigrant experience. We can just look at who he's portrayed on film. So he doesn't owe his politics, but when he refers to the left, he says we in Hollywood. So if people want to crucify him for trying to bring the rights to his films, then that's fair. But he just wants to make his films. He doesn't like the state of the world. He doesn't like how divided we are. I don't know that he's going to solve things, but I actually commend him for not trying to make his films overly political, even though, and we'll get to one that is that also deals with political issues where I think he's a little more clear with his feelings. So anyway, I don't know. I just said a lot of shit. So what do you think about all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite accurate. Yeah, the whole scandal following Sean is something that's pretty well known, and you can find that out quickly simply by sharing an opinion online somewhere, because
Yes.
everybody that thinks he is the most evil person in the world will let you know pretty much immediately in the comments. It is intensely difficult to be somebody that is trying to capture real life and share it in a way that is realistic without being I don't know, molding a story in a way, well, where yes, you are writing a story, but you're literally like just sharing life, and not clearly not in like a documentary way, but doing it in a way that is verite. It's doing something in a style of film that he has loved for the last 30 years literally, and has professed to be a big fan of and want to live up to. And when you're doing that and trying to capture all walks of life, to do proper research and understand it, you have to see things, you have to follow people, you have to understand vocabulary and dichotomy of people's relationships and everything that you're not just going to be able to catch in news or watching films, which he does guaranteed watch a lot of movies. But that's not going to be enough for some of these things that are going to affect his current storylines that he's living and writing and breathing and making, but also in the future. Sean is one of those people that undoubtedly, like, the politics of the last 10 years are going to shape a film that Sean releases in 5 years,
Exactly.
without a doubt. And without breathing aspects of that, and I'm not saying, to understand that you have to be somebody that hates certain groups, but you have to witness it for what it actually is and not be fed by a biased press machine. And sometimes that means witnessing unsavory people saying and doing exactly what they're going to say and do without you witnessing it. He's not influencing it, he's not living it, he's not preaching it. A lot of that stuff is consumption, and good lord, does Sean consume. He is somebody that is voracious in his media appetite in every single way. I mean, the
Very
man
much so.
can
Yeah.
wax poetically from everything on Italian film posters from 1978 to Twitter happenstances from 2014. So it is crazy what he's been able to keep his ear to the ground for. But I mean, that leads to somebody that is just simply well-rounded, and that's the way that I've described Sean for a long time. Is he's, I mean, one of the shorts attributed to him on Letterboxd is him showing love for Herschel Gordon Lewis, for God's sake. Like,
Yeah.
the guy is
He loves.
everywhere.
Yeah. And since we're talking about Red Rocket, so Ornella Muti, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right,
You
was
are.
a Italian actress that he loved, and he modeled Strawberry based. So not the first time that we'll be talking about an Italian actress, probably, but yeah, no, I think one thing he has said consistently is that just because he portrays somebody, so for example, politics notwithstanding, Haley from the Florida Project is not a very I'm going to use the word likable character, but she's actually she's a very troubling character. She's not a good parent. That's real. Now the nuance is whether she loves her child. In fact, that's a connection with his wife. His wife has a kid too, and he wants nothing to do with the kid. So you wonder if there are parallels with her in maybe that character a decade earlier.
Yeah.
But he has said that just because he portrays a character, that does not mean that he agrees with their worldview or that he identifies with them, and he's influenced by like the British social realism. A lot of they call it the angry young men movement. A lot of them, I mean, they were angry young men, and that's not what Sean is. He does not acknowledge
Right.
that kind of fury. But he, like for example, Mike Lee. So he's also very inspired by Naked, and the character Johnny in Naked is really one of the most vile human beings that you could see in film. And some people can't watch that. They'll hate a movie with a
Yeah.
character they can't identify, and that's fair. You know, that's a big part of the film experience. You want to enjoy and appreciate. There are other people, and I think we're probably in this category, that can appreciate like a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie. You know, we're not going to identify with his characters either. Um, but Johnny is a good one because like he's just vile and just an asshole in every way. And I'm not saying that that's what Simon Rex is playing or any of his other characters, but he's not trying to convince you of some sort of platform or some sort of agenda through his characters. He's really just trying to tell you a story. Again, it sounds like we're going to get to another film pretty soon. So I guess process of elimination, I think we're kind of already there, but yeah, Red Rocket. I think it, based on the acclaim, you know, it did well at Cannes. Was very successful at Cannes. Of course, it didn't win anything. It was in competition, and it won the Palme d'Or actually. And by the way, dogs matter a lot to Sean. Starlet is a great example.
Oh
Starlet.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think actually, I'm not going to say that he's more proud of his Palme Dog than his Palme d'Or or his Oscars. He was pretty damn proud of his Palme Dog. So,
Yeah.
he loves his dogs, and one of his dogs passed. So, you know, won't get into that. But obviously, I just had Levon out about an hour ago, my cat. So I don't have a dog in the house currently. I just love dogs. I love pets, and I love people that love pets and include them in their, especially filmmakers. So, and I love how Sean loves dogs. So anyway, must love dogs. I agree. But Red Rocket, I think, is a masterpiece, and it's slept on a lot.
A
Because
lot.
and I think it doesn't get its due, and it really pays off in rewatches. So I think it's a. He also the Sugarland Express by Spielberg is a big influence. Goldie Hawn, and Ornella. The way he lit Strawberry, Susanna's son, you can really see those two. So yeah, I just think it's and he couldn't, and because of COVID, he couldn't shoot in in the film stock he wanted. I want to say he shot. I want to say digitally. I can't
I
remember.
believe it was digitally. Yeah.
And he, but the thing again, he's a gatekeeper. He's not a gatekeeper when it comes to film. He's going to he's going to put out his his vision as close as he can get there. So yeah, I'm very thrilled that you have Red Rocket as high as or about as high as I do. It's a great film.
Yeah, so many people just have simply not seen this. They went from Florida Project to Anora, which
Yeah,
in a way, like I kind of understand because of how it was treated by A24 as well. And a lot again, it's a COVID film, so a lot of stuff is just
yeah.
not going to have that ability. There, there was one more thing. Oh, Ornella Moody. I did not expect this to come up tonight. But just a heads up for anybody that had not heard about this. Eugenio Ercolani over in Italy that I've had on the show multiple times. He shared on, I think it was Instagram and Facebook some months ago that he was working with Sean actually over in Italy, I believe, during the Anora run after Cannes. And he had Sean interview Ornella Muti just recently for some sort of upcoming release. I believe that was for somebody like that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's really cool, and just shows Sean appreciating these physical media releases and doing whatever he can to promote the idea of film. I mean, when I met Sean in person last summer, it was he was just simply there doing a Q&A at one of the American Cinematheque theaters in LA, and he had no actual tie to the film. He brought Vera, what's her last name? Vera Gemma, that's the last name, out there to show her film, and it was incredible. And yeah, he just simply loves movies. But on that note, I think it's time to talk about our number one, which anybody that is here, you know what's left, and that is last year's Oscar winner for Best Picture, and that is Anora, starring Mikey Madison and a handful of others that do some great work. But man, Karan Kuragulin gives a really great performance in this one. Let's get into the story a little bit. Mikey Madison is the titular Anora, who also goes by Annie in this. She is a dancer. She's a sex worker that, because of her previous knowledge of Russian, is asked to help a certain group of people that come into their establishment. And based on that, she is asked to hang out with one of these people at home, and it leads to a closer relationship between them. And very quickly, they are engaged to be married, and the story goes from there. And of course, the family hearing about that explodes, but we'll get deep into this one. Why is Honora your number one there, Aaron?
So I've seen Honora 8 times. By the way, if you saw me go on camera, go off camera, I was looking for the Vampiros Lesbos disc, and I have so many discs. Look behind you. It's too close to the player. So what's interesting is I want to shout out to Jeremy. I do talk about the little wifey. Oh, nice. Okay, I didn't need to do anything. So Ryan's holding up Vampiros Lesbos. So that's Soledad Miranda, is it?
Yes.
Who gets a shout out, and it's interesting to find the influence of a Italian, really a lesbian vampire. It's in the title. It's more complicated than that, but I don't know if I'd recommend it. It's not for everybody. If you don't like Honora, that doesn't mean you're going to like Vampiros Lesbos. It's very, very different. But one thing I said about Sean is that Cassavetes, all the other filmmakers we've talked about are influences, but that's the thing is he consumes film. He's been in the Severin closet. He's been in the Criterion closet. He could talk your ear off about Vinegar Syndrome, Eureka, everything we talked about tonight. So Jeremy, of course, Jeremy Long, friend of the show, or very close friend of the show, owns the underpants, and we've kind of, and like everybody, I don't want to know where he wears them. Don't tell us, Jeremy, when he wears them. I don't want to know when he's wearing them right now. But by the way, that scene, you want me to be your little wifey? That was improvised by Mikey. So that was an improvised line. So I saw it in theaters, and obviously the can. I congratulated him. By the way, he apologized for being too late to say thank you for my congrats to him winning the Palme d'Or, which frankly I think I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think he might even be prouder of winning that than the Oscar. I mean, they're both pretty awesome. So, but yeah, quite a year for him. So I saw it when it came out, saw it in theaters. Great theatrical experience. It is such a fun movie. And then I bought it digitally. And then I've seen the Criterion. I watched all the supplements. I really do think it's like, and as I've researched Sean and all his other work and found what went into Honora. By the way, he shot Honora, I want to say 40 days and $6 million was the budget. The man delivers. The man knows how to stretch a budget, which is a very underrated quality for an indie filmmaker. You got to be able to make money. And Red Rocket, some things were out of his hand. Maybe A24, definitely the pandemic. But no, Honora is one that just wore me down. Like I loved it when I first saw it, but the more I saw it, the more I loved it more. And then I thought last time I watched it, I was like, you keep on watching this movie. And I was like, you need to get that fucker 10 out of 10. It goes on your best films of all time. And I think it's his best effort. I think it's his best work. I'm super proud. What I told him is just, I was so fucking proud of him for making this movie. And I think even though he succeeded so many times before, I think this is really finally when he realized his vision, where he got everything. He edited the movie, I think, best. It's a great film. But what about you? When did you come to love this film?
The very first time. There was something you kind of just alluded to the way that I voiced it that night, because Jeremy was like,
actually, yeah.
The moment you see it, you need to call me. And the thing that I first said to Jeremy was, this is the first film from him that I feel the words completely realized, because it is like you could see everything. Like I could envision the storyboards that he had for this. He, infiltrating the deep dark secrets of certain people's minds, getting shots that he had dreamed of previously. And what's crazy is we talk about $6 million like it's a nothing budget in 2025, and it's very low. But for what he pulled off, this movie is a miracle for what he could do, and then the fact that it played like gangbusters in every single theater for the most part is
Mhm.
astonishing. I mean, in a very very prudish theater going crowd in
Yeah,
2024, to have people walk out of this film and cheering. Well, probably not at the final scene, because I don't know about you, but in the theater, that last scene was silent
yeah.
for a long
No,
time after that.
he's
Um,
part of that.
yeah, this
uh,
movie delivers in spades on pretty much every level, and it's not even just it's not a movie that I, I don't even know the best way to say this. Like, it is really rare for a movie, first of all, to win the Palme d'Or and the Best Picture Oscar,
yeah,
but to have that feel deserved after a year like that is kind of astonishing. And a lot of people were like, it was just an off year for films. No, 2024 was a great year for
it was
movies.
a great year. Yeah,
Honora deserved every single aspect of it. Mikey Madison was incredible in this.
yes,
The
she was.
storyline is amazing. The second act, like feeling like this
Hmm.
madcap, like weird sort of like chase scene in this very great drama in the middle, is so damn funny. Um, I, the writing in this is impeccable, but truly, I I I don't know, because I haven't talked to him since then, personally, other than through a couple emails. But I feel like the moment that Sean won the Oscar for editing for this was
Yeah,
probably one of the
we
most
knew.
proud moments of his life. Not even that we knew that he was going to win that night, but
Hmm.
the editing in this movie is so absolutely untouchable. It makes every single film sequence in this breathe when it needs to breathe, to snap shut when it needs to immediately. There's a
Yeah.
couple of very quick cuts in this that are just touch point accurate. Like, if you had done it a split second later, I'd been like, oh, that could have been slightly better.
Yeah.
This movie from first jump felt perfect. It felt like the movie that we needed to see last year, which is kind of hilarious that the first half hour is so obscene for a lot of people. I don't. So much has been said about this movie over the last year. I feel it weird to
Oh,
gush about it, but this
I
movie
could go on for hours about it.
is incredible.
Well, it's also 239:1, which is the same aspect ratio as Red Rocket, and so he really uses that frame, like some of those Coney Island shots, like and and the editing. So well, actually, first the ending, the sound. I'm not going to spoil. He actually subverts his own the expectations that he's created
Oh yeah,
with sound at the end. And I won't say, Red Rocket. The ending without spoiling, being kind of vague. The ending is the same but different, and makes you question it. So you want to walk out of the theater thinking about it. Very
yep,
successful with that. One thing I say in the book is that I think a case could be made that he's a better editor than director, and that doesn't mean that he's an amazing director. But the thing is, he does so much. He's almost like a project manager because he wears so many hats.
yep,
But because he's such a great editor, he actually learned editing first. That's how he got his start. So he's able to. That actually informs how good he is as a director, and he's able to foresee the shots he needs, the coverage he needs, so the blocking he needs. That's how he gets these shoots in at budget, because he doesn't he knows what he doesn't need, which is just as important as knowing what he does need. So
yep,
yeah, no, I agree. His vision was realized. This was a perfect film. We got to shout out Karen Karagulian.
yeah.
He is and Yura Borisov. uh, they're everything is tremendous, and I certain people, sure, the cream rises to the top. um, I also think it's important to say that he calls this his most political film, and even though I said that Red Rocket is his most political film, what he's talking about, I think, is more global politics, and talking about riches, wealth, and privilege. Let's it's there. So, and also the expectations of somebody that has not seen that life, so has been sheltered from it. So, a lot of his most of his characters have been sheltered from that sort of a privileged life. So, you can see the motivation really from opening scene to the end of a character like Annie, and how she acts, how she does. Now, I don't want to say anything about any endings, but the thing is, like, with, like, for example, the social realist pictures, you're usually not going to get a happy ending. And sometimes
No.
with Sean's you do, sometimes you don't. I'm not going to say anything about this one, or I'm just going to say that the ending, I think, hit the exactly right tonal note. And I would say that other than maybe Red Rocket, I really like the way Red Rocket ends and the song that's used, really leading up to the end. But yeah, no, I think Anora is just, yeah, like you said, a perfect movie. And now I want to buy a thong that says, "You want me to be your little wifey?" Is it available somewhere, Sean? Can you send it to me? Not really. um, but no, it's great. And when I saw the editing Oscar, well, let's get, just real quick, award season. Remember that, like, he was the front runner, and then he wasn't. The Brutalist was. Some people thought The Substance, of course, Demi was the best actress front runner, and then the momentum shifted. He won the DGA. You all know the history. You all probably watched award season. I think that this was always everybody's favorite film. Like, if you look at the critics list, it was by a mile above everything. In fact, I don't even think The Brutalist was number 2. I want to say it might have been The Substance. I forget. I think actually Challengers was pretty high, but I think from start to finish, everybody loved Anora. There are some detractors, especially, there's a lot of sex in the movie. That's what my wife said. The first half hour, she's like, "Are they going to just fuck all movie?" I was like, "Just hang out a bit." But no, everybody loved the movie, as they should. And I'm really glad that Sean had finally, after I jinxed him, the success that he deserved. 5 Oscars for the movie, 4 personal, his best movie. I think it's a great way to end this discussion. So this has been fun.
It's been a long talk, but man, Sean deserves it. I can't wait to see what he does next. I hope he makes his way to well, I'll I'll save that, but where he meant to go instead of Red Rocket, and
He's
see if he
talked
can
about
get.
that. Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll get there someday. It's not the right time for that. So, and this is public. It's not. So
Okay.
he attempted to make a film in Vancouver about another, we'll say, group that is challenged. But the thing that changed is not his, well, COVID, obviously scrapped that. And also he didn't get it was a bigger budget. He wanted a rise in budgets each year. So the thing is, the problem statement, we'll say, like, for example, the problem statement of, like, Florida Project hasn't changed. There are probably still people living in hotels in Florida. It's a problem that's not going to go away, and I think he'll make it someday. Last I've heard, he's talked about, publicly, he's mentioned a sex worker movie again. So the thing is, he's going to get hated
I'm
on for
shocked.
that too. But you know what? I mean, who's talking about this? Who's
Yeah.
talking about sex workers? So yeah, cheers to him for finding communities that are interesting on film. And by the way, they're not all, like, directly sex workers.
It's true.
They're people first, and then Annie is maybe Annie and Dree Hemingway in Starlight are, like, and Simon Rex, of course. But yeah.
It's also about a lot more than just the sex work aspect, which is the best part, I think, about these, is that it plays a very small part of his story for the most part. So, yeah, Aaron, thanks for doing this. Why don't you share more about Cinejourneys? Tell everybody where they can find that, and then what's going on with Criterion now, because it's been quiet.
So actually, I didn't mention this during the discussion, but we actually recorded an episode of Criterion Now the day before the Wes Anderson announcement came out. So we talked about the prior month, and we didn't have enough time, so we had to rush through it, which is never a good thing. So we kind of had to, like, abruptly end, and then the next day our episode was outdated. So I'm really glad that I was able to join this conversation, talk about Criterions. I'll share this with my peeps. Criterion Now is still around. We just have a lot going on, so we'll get back to it. I have a couple ideas for really interesting topics that aren't, like, specifically disc, or not specific, like, it's not just releases every month. I have a couple filmmakers from different nationalities. I like to tackle topics like that, so we'll do that. I might do a solo episode, which is, I haven't done one of those in a while. So yeah. But no, it's still around. The A24 New Wave, I have a really interesting guest lined up for that, for the podcast that accompanies the book. And we're working on publishing the book. So we've got release plans, got a book tour planned out. So I'm going to hit your neck of the woods. So sorry in advance. Probably going to hit everybody's neck of the woods at some point. But we love the book. We're very proud of it. It's getting close. Just working with Joe Blake, of course, my partner at Cinejourneys. And then finally, I'll just say Cinejourneys, we have some great people that are involved. We have some great people that are coming too. So that I can't share their names yet. Some are pretty, there's one that's basically the combined profile of like probably everybody. So yeah. Podcast is Criterion now. A24 New Wave. It's on someone's favorite productions. So sorry, buried that lead, but we'll get some more episodes out soon.
It's fine. Everybody here should be already subscribed to that anyways. Everybody that's listening, anybody that's watching, please go support Aaron, support Jill, support Cinejourneys. You guys are amazing. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. If you want to have more talks like this, I'd love to have you be a part of the Patreon. Seeing you in the Discord. Check out the link for that in the description below. Other than that, newest issue of the Physical Media Advocate is out there now. It's got an incredible cover, some really great stories, but I'm very excited. We got a brand new issue already dropping in 11 days. Get excited for that. It will be our first major themed issue, and Stan and I are already working our asses off on it, primarily Stan. Thanks, Stan. You're the man. Everybody, I cannot wait to see what happens next week because we got a first-time guest coming next Thursday. We'll see you all next week, and until then, be safe. Have a good time. Thanks, Aaron.
See Cheng Su.
On that note, we'll see you then.
Thank you.
You've all been amazing. Here we go. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share it with someone else that may appreciate this.